Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to everybody in Arsenal land. It's 101 Arsenal. It's Apollo here, and I'm here with Neomis. And sorry, guys, I must apologize. I didn't get round to doing a live stream in Palace because these 8 o'clock midweek games are an absolute pain in the backside. We, as content creators, just cannot plan around it, and it makes it extremely difficult for us to actually get our streams on. And as most of you guys know, it's all right if you're a big $1 million corporation and you've got 20, 30 people working for you, but when you're doing channels like this, it's extremely difficult to make it work. So I have to apologize about the stream on Monday night. Neo Miss, how are you going, bro?
I've been good. Life is good. Football has surprisingly been even better. I have definitely been surprised. Yeah, I can't complain. Can't complain one bit.
Good. And guys, as you know, we're here to talk about Arsenal beating Aston Villa 3-1, and we're here to do the player ratings. But first of all, let's talk about the game in its entirety. And big shout out to all of you guys in the chat. Leomis, give me your thoughts. What was you happy with the result? I didn't even get your prediction, and I know we've done our predictions for the first 10 games, which, by the way, that ends next week. So we're going to do we're going to do an overall thing in terms of catching up. Somebody has just said, "Can I join the live chat, please?" It's come up as a unknown user, so you can see at the top of the page it says StreamYard has to get your permission to sign a waiver, and then we can actually see who you are and what your name is. So if you can fill that out, then I can actually know who it is, unless somebody from 101 can tell me who is actually streaming there. But yeah, what's your overall thoughts on the game?
I have to say that after the Palace game, I knew it needed to be done. I knew we needed a change. I knew that we had to take all the good elements from Palace, get rid of the bad, and then apply them onto this game. And I knew that Villa could be got at only because this Aston Villa side, as good as the amount of players that they brought in and who I rate incredibly, they haven't begun to even make their stride yet. They've brought in so many players that are so different. They've changed their formation, so they're going to need a bit time to get up and running. So I thought, you know what, like we could get a draw out of this game if we do all the right things, and those right things were playing Aubameyang and Lacazette starting together in a two, which he did. I didn't think he would go with a 4-4-2 or like a 4-4-1-1, but which I like. I love. I have no problem with that. I went with more of like a 3-5-2 because we've played it with three at the back before, and having Tavares and Maitland-Niles in the wing. But hey, I'll take it. And surprised to see Odergaard drop. I wanted him dropped, and he was dropped because.
Did you see my preview?
Yes.
Yeah, preview. I was kind of setting off on him because I weren't having that. Oh, that's Ebony. Ebony, she says, "Can I?" Yeah, of course you can join. Didn't you get the? I sent the link, Ebony. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going on. Why? Yeah, I'm just gonna double check to make sure that I've sent the link to everybody, because you know what? I haven't even got my Facebook turned on and my Messenger on my computer at the moment. But Osman says the best part of the game was Ramsdale performance and the fans' chants and boos towards Man. Yeah, I didn't take part in them boos, by the way, because I rate Martinez as top 3, so I didn't take part in any of those boos. His constant crying out about his forget. Yeah, you know what? Ramsdale can be something special. It reminds me of what happened 10 years ago when Martinez never really got his chance at Arsenal. Let's be fair. He stuck around for 10 years and they didn't give him the keys to the car. Ramsdale has been brought in and he's been given the keys to the car straight away. So, yeah, there's that. There's a lot of that.
For me, I didn't understand the boost towards Martinez. I mean, if people realize that Martinez last season for Aston Villa, I think that game against Arsenal was the first game where, for that one season from last season from when he left, he played more games for Aston Villa than he ever did for his whole 10 years at Arsenal. Why am I going to boo the guy? Because it's quite clear that the club didn't think anything much of him. Like, yes, he's left, but I hope Martinez didn't take it personal, because, like I said, when players leave, they only boo you when they know that you're good. You know, like I've never heard anybody boo Gail Clichy or Kieran Gibbs like when they've left. So, you know, it is what it is. And yeah, I guess some fans are like that, but it was not so good to get the win. Like, I like the formation we had, and like I was saying with Odegaard was dropped. I would have loved to see Martinelli earlier on, like bringing him on at the 90th minute. I thought, like, why? And then when we've got Leeds on Tuesday as well, I thought this would be a good shout out for him to get a real run out. Hopefully that means that he will be there for 90 minutes. I don't know if you're going to be at the game, but I will be at that game.
I decided not to go. There's too much to do. This is my last week, and then I'm back to work after 10 months next week. So yeah, so I've got a lot to do in terms of prepping to get back to work. So I decided it's probably it's a bit. What I was planning to do was get 4 or 5 tickets and just let all of us in the panel just go, but it's just too late notice. It's just too late notice. Ebony, where are you? The link is in the chat, sweetheart, and we're waiting for you to join. She said Emmy should have kept those comments to himself. Yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna beat up on Martinez, because I rate him. He's top 3 in the league in my opinion.
Yeah.
And Kuke says, "What's going on? What's going on with you, bro? What's happening, brother?" And he says Arteta confirmed both Aubameyang and Lacazette are fine, not injured, and both got subbed because of cramps. Yeah, in terms of Tavares and Lacazette, they haven't played a whole lot of football, so I was a bit shocked that Tavares kept going the way that he did for 90 minutes, because he's hardly played. And in regards to Lacazette, I wasn't surprised that Lacazette was getting the cramps he had, because this is the first 90 minutes that he's played. I thought, what is going on here?
This was Tavares' first start in the Premier League. That they were saying for Sky Sports. It was good. He's really got a good engine on him. So well done to Tavares. Hopefully he plays against Leeds as well, because I guess my guess is that Tierney is injured, and that's the reason why he didn't play. So yeah,
I did put that when I uploaded my vlog today. I seem to be doing it the day after the game, so all the fun and everything is done, but at least the vlog shows my experience of the game day. And because I think what's funny about my vlogs is I talk about the team sheet, and obviously I do my preview, talk about the team sheet, so everybody kind of knows my mindset. Everybody was jumping on me today because I said we were going to draw, and in the forums when the game started, they said we're going to draw, but we might lose. And then they were like, Apollo, you said we were going to lose. I was like, no, I said we was going to draw, and I said we might lose. So it's funny because you see, it's like I'm telling a story when I see my vlog. You get the pre-game, you get me running down the stairs at halftime, quickly trying to give my 2 cents, and then running back to my seat. So it's like the whole thing. So yeah, it's a struggle to get those up and going. What's going on, Jared? I hope you enjoyed the victory. I know you did. Ebony, what's going on? What's going on, my girl? What's going on?
What's up? Apollo, Naomi, and everybody in the chat. Everything is cool. Listen, I've got an apology to make. I know you've seen it on the page, but I'm going to make this an apology on 101 Facebook. Listen, I would like to express my sincere apologies to Aaron Ramsdale for my comments, based on his track record and based on the fact that 3 teams that he's been with have been relegated. I would like to sincerely apologize for the fact that I didn't believe that he had the ability to be as good as he is. So my apologies. If you want to send this video and let Ramsdale know, Aaron, I love you. I'm sorry. I take it back. I'll even buy a shirt with your name on the back. I'll even change my name to Mrs. Ramsdale. All right? I'm sorry.
What's Martinez going to think about that?
No, he just got divorced. I think she just divorced him. That was it.
No, I'm to be honest, guys. I thought it would be a draw. Given the way that we've been playing, we haven't been playing too well in recent games. However, it seems as though we're doing a very good job at home for the most part. But I'm just happy, you know, Tavares showed, you know, what class he is. Ramsdale has proven me wrong over and over again. He should be the number one now, and it looks like he is number one. I'm glad that Thomas Partey got a goal because he's been knocking on that door. A great header. I think my favorite part of the game though was ESR's almost solo goal.
Yeah, Aubameyang had a lot to do with that. I want to big up Aubameyang. Yeah, I want to big up. There's a lot of players that are going to get big up today. So we're going to get straight into it. Let me just talk to the chat room first, and then we're going to have some fun with the players, and we're going to glorify the players, because I always make this thing on the forum. I type in, everyone's quick to shoot everybody down, including the manager when they get it wrong. But everybody seems to go missing when the players get it right and when the manager get it right, especially Arteta. Didn't see a lot. I know the names. I've got a little booklet, so I know who the names are. We were always talking about him, wanting to get him sacked, saying he's no good, saying it will never work. And none of those names come up and give him any kudos or respect when he does well. And it's a real shame. But we will move on anyway. So Vincey, who I'm waiting for to join the chat. What's going on, Vincey? Vincey says, no, Ebony, don't do it. Bertrand says, Tavares showed how to cross with purpose. Yeah, exactly. I noticed that his ball placement in that position was far superior than just hitting and hope. You know, I see Turney every week just crossing the ball in there, putting it to nobody, not even having to try and aim for a target. And Tavares was the real deal yesterday. Marriage with Martinez is for life. Oh, Lord. Mrs. Martinez, boy, that's not going to leave you for good now.
Divorce just happened.
So, guys, I'm going to start off with my player ratings and I'll move around to you guys. And this shouldn't be for long, but and there's 3 of us here, so we're missing quite a few guys. I thought with the success that we're having at the moment, and I have to say that, but I'm going to come to that when I talk about Arteta at the end. So I've given Ramsdale an 8. Now, for weeks I've been talking about this guy's distribution. This guy's distribution is out of this world. I don't even think I've seen a goalkeeper at Arsenal Football Club that distributes the ball the way he does. Though, look, it's pinpoint passes. He hit a 50-yard pass yesterday, a slanted diagonal pass over to the left-hand side. And the accuracy and the pace on the ball. Normally, when you hit a ball that long, it's got a lot of air underneath it, enough time to a midfielder to come in and intercept it. This ball was hit hard and low, and it was just like, it was, you know, it was like Brett Favre. It's like a quarterback just nailing a pass to a wide receiver. The pace it had on it, and it hit, I tell you, I was just like, this guy just hit a 50-yard pass, playing it out from the back. He was getting pressed from Villa strikers. He had Ings in his face. He had Leon, what's his name? He had
Bailey.
he had Ollie Watkins and Leon Bailey in his face, and he just hits the ball between them and dismantles the press. One pass completely dismantles it. He is destroying the press. When teams are coming at us, Ramsdale is just destroying them. And what I like about him yesterday was, and this might not be mentioned, but his poise is fantastic. He knows when to release the ball quickly, and he knows when to slow it down. It's like, whoa, we're 1-0 up. We're nearing half-time. We don't have to rush. Yeah, we don't have to rush and try to make something out of nothing and give the ball back to the opposition so they can attack us one more time. We don't have to do it. So the guy he's 23 years old, this guy. And his maturity is beyond anything that I've expected. And I admit, I know all of his accolades. That's why I give him a chance. I weren't one of these people that was rubbish in him. I did say I wanted Sam Johnson, so I'm not going to lie. But when he was signed, I said, I'm open to it. A lot of Arsenal fans was like, nah, not having this. I'm open to it because I knew he was second in the league dealing with coming up for crosses behind Martinez. I know out of 200 shot attempts, he was second in the Premiership in saves, percentage saves. So I was like, well, this guy's pretty good. He can distribute the ball. He comes out on crosses. Leno is very planted and doesn't come out for anything on set pieces, which is why he's so poor when we have to defend set pieces. Having this guy in the team is like having another defender. And to go with that, Thomas Partey playing like a sweeper, it's almost like we got 6 players in there in the box automatically. With the addition of Ramsey and Thomas Partey, it's like we've got 6 defensive players in the box at all times. And it's fantastic to see. But the way this guy breaks the press, he's a weapon. And I ain't even talking about his saves. He's great at saving as well. He's as good a shot stopper as Leno, but everything else from his distribution to his set pieces and coming out for crosses, he is way better than Leno. So I'm going to give him an 8. Tommy Atsu, I'm going to give him a 7. Better in position this week. Last week, I thought I saw him give the ball away a bit too much. I still see a little bit of hesitancy in his game. Sometimes he'll run down the flank, he'll beat a man, and he's got a little bit of that Saka in him where he turns around and he doesn't quite know what to do with the ball yet. And maybe that's got to do with familiarity because he hasn't played with the guys for a bunch. So he's not sure who's the guy in the team who makes those runs, who's the guy in that team who comes up support. I know training is training, but when you're playing for real against opposing teams, you actually, it's a different combination and you're trying to sort of find out how that works. So he's going to need a little bit more time in that. But for me, you can't knock his energy. That's not to be in question. Twice he made firm tackles when Ollie Watkins was running into the box. He made tackles inside the penalty area, pinpoint, got the ball, not the man, no penalty. And I thought that kind of ability is very, very good. 7 for me. Ben White, 8.5. Sorry, 8. Yeah, he gets an 8 for me. Ben White, 8.5. His best game in an Arsenal shirt. The poise and the calm that this guy submits. Again, guys, David Luiz is 34. This guy's 23. This guy's a decade younger. And the way he plays the ball out of the backs. And I'm going to mention both of our centre-backs here. The way that they are not scared under pressure. They're not rattled or ragged when they're pressed playing out the ball out the back. They're calm. They know where they want to go with the ball. And it's almost, we are light years away from Socrates and Holding and, all these guys who were just like a deer in the headlights when it came out of playing the ball at the back. We are in a different universe to that right now with these centre-backs. But for me, it's not just that. It's his ability to bring the ball out the backfield. If the pass isn't there, he'll happily just dribble with the ball into the midfield. And I see Ollie Watkins and Ings trying to press, and then this guy, Ben White, runs by them and they're like, you're not supposed to do that. You're a centre-back. And the way that they looked at him when he floated past them, it was just like, with that ability, and it wasn't like, we've seen Rob Holding come out. Sometimes he plays a good ball. Sometimes Rob Holding might lose possession. We've seen him try and do that. But this guy comes out and he plays a flank pass to Tavares, running into space, and it's almost out of nothing. So he beats the press, runs out into the midfield, sees a pass, slays it on in line, waited perfectly to Tavares, and the ball comes in and the Aubameyang just misses a chance. That is just from what Ben White can do for you as a player bringing the ball at the back. He's the total package. I mean, for me, guys, interceptions, 2 vital blocks on shots he made as well. This is what 50 million looks like. Yeah? This, guys, is what 50 million looks like. Gabriel, I talked about the combination of defenders playing the ball at the back. He goes in with that as well. Tidy with the ball at his feet he was, and we know that he's got that in his game. But I think the difference between him and Ben White is his aerial domination. We know what he's like on clearances, and we saw that again yesterday. And again, another great block towards the end of the first half. But I think I'm in the Bertram's ballpark here when we was discussing his rash type of ball possession and the decisions he sometimes make. I haven't seen that this season, guys. I haven't seen that. I've seen a lot of calm in his game this season. It's almost like he's not playing with his pants on fire. So I like that. And long may that continue. It's a process. I don't expect to have a player that aggressive to get rid of that part of his game so quickly. So while I like what he's doing right now, and it's a fantastic centre-back pairing, by the way, guys, but while I like what he's doing right now, I'm just happy that he's making those incremental steps forward. Nuno Tavares, he gets an 8 as well. Best performance by a left back this season. You guys know I've been talking about him starting in my previews. I was so happy when he got named on the team sheet. And for me, I'm just, this guy is just relentless. He never stops running. I know he's raw defensively, but what he can, he's like a winger. He's like, when I look at someone like what Theo Walcott did on the attacking play on the right-hand side, this guy's like an attacking left winger in the ways that we ain't seen in a very long time. You don't. If you said that to me, if I went to see a game and I wasn't an Arsenal fan and someone invited me to go and watch that game, and then you told me at the end of the game, oh, by the way, that's a defender. I was like, what are you talking about? That guy, I'd say no way. That guy is an attacking winger. That guy is no way a defender. Guys, he is relentless running into the channels. And because of that, he's an easy option for the midfield. When you're an Odergaard or Smith Rowe or a Saka or someone who wants to be creative, that's money for you. And I think we know that Tierney does that as well. We know Tierney gets up and down the flanks. We know it. But this guy has got the ability to not just sit and cross the ball like Tierney does. He'll go into the box. He'll just divert, look at the defender, run at the defender like he wants to score goals. Let's not forget, when we had the international break last week, he was the most productive out of all our players. He had a goal and 2 assists. And I know Partey scored 2 goals, but he didn't have an assist. This guy had 2 assists and he had a goal. So he was the most productive from a goal standpoint than any other players. He's young, he's raw. I love what I see in this player. Bring it on. That's what I'm saying. Bring the competition on. And I'll talk about him at the end of the review when I speak about Arteta. Lokonga, I give him an 8. Solid defensively. Best we've seen him, winning balls. He's just a ball winner in the midfield, closing down in the press, not giving Villa's defense midfield any time on the ball. Complements Thomas Partey perfectly. So much energy and urgency. Love it. Saka, I'm going to give him a 6. And actually, I was going with a 5, but I decided to bump up a 6 because there's certain things that he did which I thought was okay. But God, I have to say, man, when he had the opportunity against Martinez, you got to score. The ball was hit flat and it was hit into the middle. So I'm going to talk about that because I've made notes on it. So I'm not going to waste the notes that I've made on it. Every attacking midfielder has to learn this, that when you're running onto a ball in the box, you don't hit the ball dead center in the goal. There's something that you don't do. Do not hit the ball dead center in the goal. You're giving a goalkeeper an easy option to make a save. This is what separates the quality midfielders, like a Foden or we know Mason Mount scored a hat-trick today. Those goals won't come unless you work on your finishing. You see someone like a Mane and a Salah and all them attacking midfielders come in, and never do you see them hit balls dead center. They're low right, low left, high right, high left. They don't give the goalkeeper a chance to make a save. And Saka doesn't have that in his game yet. So I think that's something he really has to work on. The way he hits the ball at the goalkeeper is a little bit too safe. But I talked about Yasu earlier on, and with Saka, a lot of indecisiveness in his play. I saw it against Palace. I saw it again against Villa. When he gets the ball, he doesn't know. It doesn't look like he really knows what he wants to do with the ball, whether he wants to run, whether he wants to pass. He doesn't see the passing options. And I've probably seen that for a long time and not really talked about it. He doesn't have the vision that you would like. And look, I know he's had 21 assists, so he definitely has something. Yeah, he's definitely got something in terms of his passing ability. But in the last few games, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that. Maybe he needs to, the saying, slow down in order to speed up. Maybe he needs to do a little bit that, because I just see too much indecisiveness in his game at the moment. I gave him a 6. I like the run he made onto Tavares. Remember the beautiful ball Tavares played into him, which is where he had the opportunity. I like that. Yeah. That's great movement. He had your chance. So I like his movement and his energy. That's still there. I just think he needs to work on the vision and the mental side of the game moving forward. Thomas Partey, 8.5 out of 10, finally scored his goal, and he didn't even need to use his feet for it. And he's come close to scoring so many times. He hit the post twice before this game, and even before the goal, he hit the crossbar. I mean, what does he have to do in order to score? But he did it, and his pressing was impeccable as well. He had a little few clumsy moments which have popped up here and there in his game, but he's managed to find his place in front of the back four. It seems that that's where Arteta's going to use him now, sort of like a hybrid sweeper. And I like what I see from him. He's looking much more polished now, Thomas Partey, than ever before. And that is set up for him to combine with Sambi in a big way. So so he gets an 8.5. My man of the match is Smith Rowe, teamed up with Tavares on that left-hand side, was impeccable. Villa couldn't live with it. Villa couldn't deal with it. The pace, the movement, the tenacity, the press, the pressing, the play on and off the ball, just like Lacazette, was just perfect. You cannot ask a midfielder to do any more than what Smith Rowe did on that pitch yesterday. You can't ask any more. All you can ask is for that he can replicate that over the coming weeks and in the games to come, because he was the total package. I know that there's this thing, people talking about Jamie Carragher saying he's the most fun to watch in the league at doing that, running at defenders. He didn't say he was the best. Some people came out and started saying, Jamie Carragher said he was the best person running with the ball. He didn't say that. He said he's the most fun to watch running with the ball at the defenders. Yeah. And if he continues to improve, guys, the sky's the limit for this guy. I've been talking about Smith Rowe for 3 years. Every year. And you guys know it's not like you just came to the channel yesterday. You guys know I've been talking about this guy for years and years and years. And I'm so happy that my words that I use to describe him, he's the natural pro-aggressor to Aaron Ramsey. That's what I've said. And I will continue to keep saying that, because every time I see him play, he's just magic. And he can be better than Aaron Ramsey. That's how good this guy is. His ceiling is so high. But Aubameyang, guys, I'm giving Aubameyang an 8. Let me glorify the captain. I see a little few of you flinging out 6s and 7s and rubbish.
What?
Rubbish.
6s and 7s?
I'm giving Aubameyang an 8. This guy, he scored a goal. He created a goal. He scored 7 goals in all competition this season. Only Salah in Liverpool has scored more goals in all competitions. He's got 4 goals in 4 home games at the moment, and he looks to rediscover the scoring touch. And I think more importantly, guys, forget about the goals. Let's dash the goals away. Fling the goals away. His work rate and commitment on the field as a leader and a captain is second to none. I mean, right now, last week, when I saw him come out against Crystal Palace, actually is this week, and I saw the way how he was pressing, and he was turning around and Odergaard was behind play, Smith Rowe was behind play, Saka was behind play. And it's just like, they must have went back Tuesday. I know they watched film at London Coney on Tuesday. They must have watched the film, and Arteta must have been going, that's what you need to see. You see what Aubameyang's doing? That's what I need from you. And the players must have been going, all right, boss, all right. And yesterday they came out against Villa, and guess what? All of them were pressing. Villa could not live with it. We had 12 shots at halftime. Villa had none. They were under pressure. Villa were getting beaten up. And that tone was being set by the work rate. Aubameyang's been doing this, by the way, since Burnley. I have been pointing it out on the player ratings. Since Burnley, this guy's been working this hard. And it seems like every week he seems to be working harder and harder, because the message is getting through to the kids. And I'm so happy that they started Lacazette, because now you've got 2 veterans who were leading the charge. And the kids are... Last season, the kids were the one that was leading this team. This season, the veterans are doing what Xhaka, Ceballos, Willian, what they were supposed to be in last season. That's what Aubameyang and Lacazette are doing now. They're leading this team, and the kids are responding. So listen, big shout out. The pass that Aubameyang played to Smith Rowe for his goal. 2 defenders behind Aubameyang. The ball comes through. He hits the volley. 1 touch, bang, straight through on goal. Nobody anywhere near Smith Rowe. That's for you, Bertram Spence. Yeah, that pass was for you. Or everybody who's saying he can't link play and all this stuff, bravo, Aubameyang. You're getting love on one-on-one tonight, Aubameyang. I don't know whether Neomis and Ebony are going to give you love, but I'm giving you some love. Lacazette, 8.5 out of 10, guys. Brought the same intensity as Smith Rowe on and off the ball. Remember, that's important, guys. On and off the ball, the intensity was there. He won 3 balls back into the midfield, just dropping deep into the midfield, acting like a 5th midfielder, just what like Eddie Nketiah does, making himself a nuisance, making himself busy. When I saw him winning those balls back and winning attack, I was like, that's my guy right there. I've been asking for this guy to have that Nketiah mentality in the midfield as a striker, and that's what I saw yesterday. Listen, he dropped into that number 10 role, replaced Odergaard, and he was the business. I never seen Lacazette so committed to this team as I saw him yesterday. I've never seen him committed at that level as what I saw. Look, Vincey's saying, breathe, Apollo, breathe. All right. Woosa. This is Bad Boys. Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, everybody. Woosa. I've never seen Lacazette press, charge, tackle, hunt down, energize himself as much as I did yesterday. And that's what I'm saying, guys. Here, the 101 word, the 101 narrative is these guys, Lacazette and Aubameyang, are leading this team and the kids are responding. And big shout out to you, man. Mikel Arteta, 9 out of 10. When Pep Guardiola joined City, they went out and bought Kyle Walker and Mendy. What they did was they effectively fixed the movement issue that they had by springing those wing-backs into action, and Arteta was a big part of that in terms of the coaching. A lot of things Mendy says, and if you don't believe me, I've told you guys 100 times, go and watch All or Nothing's Manchester City. A lot of those players have said what Mikel Arteta brought to our coaching was immense. He has made me, and this goes for Raheem Sterling as well. You guys already know that anyway. You know, what he has brought to them has meant everything. So move to Arsenal. Arteta has gone out and got Tavares and Tomiyasu. You can see why this team is responding in the way that they are. The energy and the effort on those flanks cannot be questioned. And I just hope that those two guys grow together and make Arsenal a standpoint of where Man City was with those two wide players. It definitely looks like that he's onto something here. When I looked at Yasser, I was like, I can see it, man. I can see it, Arteta. Mikel, I can see it now. I know it. I can see it. I can see what you can see. And it's beautiful to see. And let's just imagine these guys have played a handful of games together. What are they going to be like down the road when things start really clicking? Yeah. And then he's gone out and gone back Ben White. And you can see why Ben White was chosen by Mikel Arteta. And listen, let me throw in Aaron Ramsdale. I didn't even put Aaron Ramsdale down in that conversation, but you can see why Arteta is trying to build this up to where he is right now. So before I hand over to Neomis, I'm going to say one thing to you guys. This is a 6-game unbeaten run. If you take out the 3 games where we was missing 9 players that we lost earlier on this season, they won 5 games in a row before that on the back end of last season. Granit Xhaka has been in 8. Granit Xhaka has not been in 8 out of the last 9 wins in this football team, which displaces the myth that you need him to be successful. I was having a conversation with Charlie Watts today about it because I know Charlie Watts isn't a Xhaka fan, but he made a comment on Monday night and I picked him up on it. He was saying, see, this is why you need Xhaka. Nah, not having it. I am not having it. This team can be and has been successful without Xhaka, and we don't need. What we need to do is we need to move on from that. And this isn't me having a go at Granit. This is me glorifying the fact that this team is working. I've been telling you guys for weeks to have some patience. Give these guys time. Give them time to settle in. Give the kids the ability to find some momentum. And when they get it wrong, don't chastise them. Don't boo them. Don't jump on top of their backs. Give them a little bit of time to get it right. Because from what I can see with what I just told you in terms of what our record is, and we'll lose a few games, we're going to play bad in a few games. But I do want to make something clear. I said every week that we've played that when Arsenal are leading, they are unbeaten in their last 25 games. They've won 20 and drawn 5 in their last 25 games where they have scored first. And I don't want you guys to forget about that, because again, I will bring it up again next week, and I'll bring it up the week after that, because the momentum here is this team has to get off to a good start in order to stamp their identity on the team. And that's why probably that penalty before halftime was so important. Yeah. But anyway, guys, before I go to Neomis, let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Vincey has gone for Ramsdale 8, Tomiyasu 7, Ben White 8, Gabriel 8, Tavares 8.2, Party 8, Sambi 7.5, Aubameyang 7.5, Laka 8, Smith Rowe 8.5, and he's given Arteta a 10. Big respect. Someone's been given grades here, and I'm not sure who it is. And they said it probably said they still have Klasnich. What's going on, D? D says Tavares plays with zero respect. He doesn't give no defender respect, and he likes that. He plays like he knows within himself that he's made for this league. Big, strong, fast, skillful, loves the ball. Yeah, listen, I totally 100% agree. Facebook user, I don't know who this person is. Let me see. Yeah, I don't know who this is. Says Tony Cox would have been right at home playing the way. Oh, that might be Tony Cox talking. I'm not sure. Might be the way he did last night. Real out of body experience. Yeah, I totally agree. D then says you ask him to play anywhere and he'll give you the same intensity. Much like Martinelli. I'm not sure who's talking. Maybe you're talking about Lacazette. If the club wants to bring in players from abroad, then these are the types of young players. Oh, okay. All right. So I hear that. Vincey said, oops, Saka gets a 5. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I kind of felt that way against them as well. Gerard says, Saka gave Uber a good pass on the back post. Yeah, I remember that. It was a good pass. And as I said, he has had that. Nobody who's had 21 assists over the last 2 years can't pass. Yeah, so let me kind of put that into perspective. But I think he's just a little bit too indecisive. I've seen him lose the ball quite a lot over the next few weeks. If you've seen that, then let me know. Big shout out to Alex. What's going on, bro? Big shout out to you. Let me go to Neomis. Player ratings.
Okay. So let's start off with Ramsdale and Tomiyasu. I gave both 7.5s. I thought they had really good, solid games. I can't complain anything that they did. Ramsdale, like some of the saves that he was making is brilliant. Like you said before, some of the passing as well, I thought was really, really good. He had really nothing to do in the first half. And I mean, I know in the second half, Aston gave a little bit more of a fight and he had a little bit more to do. But for the most part, I think Ramsdale handled everything that he needed to handle and that we would have expected him to handle as well. So I can't complain with him there. Same thing with Tomiyasu. I thought it was a good, solid performance from him. Again, I really want to start to see him attack more. He had there was a moment, I think, in the first half where he was bombing forward. He beat one player and then there was another defender. And I thought he was just going to whip it in for Aubameyang. And it was almost like you said, he wasn't quite sure what to do. And I was like, just cross it in so we could get the early goal. And in a way similar to how you were saying with Saka, a bit of indecisiveness from him, but I think that will probably come over a matter of time. Ben White, I gave an 8. I thought he was brilliant today. Defensively, for me, in the last game against Palace, I thought it was questionable. But one thing I can never question is his creativity from the back. And in that last game against Villa, he got everything right. Defensively, he was solid, intercepted it, creating chances from the back, his passing. That run where he drove forward and through the midfield was just ridiculous. I couldn't believe he was literally just took out the whole midfield like that. And that's what I want to see. I want to keep seeing that from Ben White. Gabriel, I gave an 8.5. Again, for me, I think compared to the Palace game, he got everything right today. Everything that we know that we've seen from him, he was able to bring. Again, just helping Ben White out. I thought for the most part, we only made one. I wouldn't even call it an error because I thought the Aston Villa goal was really good. But I don't ever remember saying that Gabriel should have cleaned that up. I had nothing to complain about him. Just again, another solid performance. Tavares, I gave an 8. All throughout that side, when I saw him there in this 4-4-2, I thought, okay, how is this going to be? Because I thought instantly he's going to bomb forwards. that means Aston Villa should, on Aston Villa's right, have more chances. But that didn't quite happen. Even in the second half, that never happened. He always, even though he came forward and created chances for us, which, like you said, is crossing just brilliant. I actually want to see him try to properly score a goal with his runs, come more into the inside and take a shot, because I think he has it. Like, so many times he got in some really good positions, and his all round, like, he's quick, he's strong. Like, I think he could do it. I think you compared him, like, he's not a defender, he's a winger, and I could see why. Like, I really would like to see him go on and actually try. I mean, who knows? Maybe Arteta might play when Tierney's back, have Tierney at left back, and have Tavares on the left wing, and just let him go at it and see what he could do. So I love to see what he could do there. Sambi, I gave a 7.5. I thought he had a solid game, some good passing from him as well. I knew when I saw him out there, because how Odegaard was so bad in the last game, I knew that 6 and that 8 that we needed, like, and that he's talked about that he can play, I knew he was going to do that role very well. But compared between him and Partey, I have to give it up to Partey. One, because he's tried and tried and tried again to score a goal, and he managed to get his goal. Defensively, I just thought he was completely solid, just completely shut down that Aston Villa midfield. Him and Sambi shutting down that midfield. And it's just a brilliant performance from both of them. But I gotta say that Partey was just slightly better, and the added goal to that, for me, just made his all-round game better. Now, Saka, I gave a 6.5. I don't think he's as bad as what I've seen online. I mean, I've seen people saying he was crap. You know, like,
I don't think he was crap, because he had the energy and the movement there. You know,
yeah.
just.
And I don't think he was crap either. I thought he had an okay game. It's just that he wasn't as good as Smith Rowe, which is what a lot of people naturally going to do with both players playing out wide. I completely agree with you that he does look like he's
Indecisive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And personally, I just think that maybe he needs a rest. He's played a lot of football, especially if you include international football. I'm wondering, like, I was surprised to see him start this game. I didn't think that he would. I
would have played
honestly think that
Martinelli. I would have played
Yes.
Martinelli. Yeah.
And that would have been my suggestion, is to, like, rest Saka and play Martinelli. Like, Martinelli could do with the game playing out wide. Like, like, for me, I think he's a better goal scorer than Saka. So he's going to give you that. And I think as long as Martinelli still has that energy, that what we saw when he first came, I would have no problem with him playing in that position. So I guess a little bit disappointing from Saka. He wasn't as good as everybody else, but that's just because everybody else's standard was just out of this world. And this leads me to kind of Lacazette. So Lacazette, when I'm watching the game, he's the unsung hero out of this. He didn't score a goal, but it was his whole all-round game. This formation, this game would not have worked if it wasn't for Lacazette. I saw Lacazette go out wide, playing in number 10, up front as a striker, dropping back into central midfield. When Yasu was struggling to get back, Lacazette was running behind him to double, like, to try to tackle, I think it was Leon Bailey in the second half. Like, he's overall, if it wasn't for his work rate, we would not have done this. So typically I would have given him.
So you could see why in the preview I asked for Odegaard to be dropped.
Yeah, like, and to be honest, I like anybody that didn't see that, like, I think it's crazy. Like, Odegaard shouldn't even have played in the last game, because the game before that, against Brighton,
he was awful. He was awful.
Yeah, like, completely went missing. Like, I remember thinking after 60 minutes, I was like, oh my God, I haven't said anything about Odegaard. Like, nothing good, nothing bad. Like, it's just like he wasn't even there. He was just like air.
But see, when I did the breakdown on my game vlog today, I said that the dynamic is got to do with running at players, and that's what he's not doing. It's almost like he's chosen to be the facilitator and play the perfect pass, and you're not going to play that all the time, because the game has changed now. Teams play gap football. I explained to you what that means previously before. For those who don't, you don't have to come up and necessarily put a tackle in on the player. You just have to clog up the passing lanes. If you do that, the player has nowhere else to go but backwards. How the game's developed now is not only are teams playing gap football, but they're pressing the living daylights out of it. Not in other leagues, but in the Premier League, which is why when people talk about Xhaka and Switzerland and international football, it's not even you get a player from another league to come in and play in the Premiership, and let's see what he's made of. Because this league will spit you up, chew you up and spit you out. You get pressed, you get no time on the ball in the midfield here, and you have to have the ability to get the ball, have the vision and play it quickly enough. And maybe that's something that he has to adapt to. I mean, he's been here for the whole year. Odegaard played for 6 months before. So it's not like he doesn't know what the Premiership's about. But to me, you have to, if you like what you see with Smith Rowe, if the pass ain't there, look up, see a man in front of you, and run at him. Go past him. Just scare the living daylights out of them. That is that is the dimension that Odegaard doesn't have.
That, like, it's just as you said, that is just not in his game. I don't think it comes naturally to him, and it might mean that certain games it just isn't suited for him, which is why I think some games are right for him where you could see he really shines. But if you're talking out of 90 minutes, he might have a good 45, but then in the second half he goes missing, and we saw a lot of that last season. And this is why, like, and I'm going to get to Arteta later on, we have to learn from these mistakes, take the good, transfer it over to the next game, and leave not the bad, but the not so good out. And Lacazette, for me, has to start. Unless he's injured, maybe not against Leeds, because that's in the cup, but against Leicester in the Premier League, Lacazette has to start. So for me, I gave him a 9.
Neomis, I have a question for you.
Yes.
What team in the league leaves out their top goal scorer in the team for the first 8 games? Name me one team in the league that has left their top.
Arsenal. Listen, only Arsenal, and the only reason why they did it because they offered him a contract, and he said, "I'm not signing it." So they
offered him 2 deals.
Oh, listen, like, you know, like I get it. Like, 'cause it's 30, he's thinking of the money. Like, go out and get your money, but he's still an asset. We can use him. You know, like, it's not like he's decided to go to Chelsea or Man United where, like, you know, like, you think that mentally his head's going to be moved. He's probably going to Roma. That's the story that I'm hearing. Like let him go away, give him a nice sending off. He's done pretty well at Arsenal. Maybe not as well as everybody would have hoped, but he can still give us value. He's like, as long as he keeps working hard like how he's been doing, holding up the ball, giving, like, complimenting Aubameyang well, and he's a goal scoring threat. Like, okay, he's not going to give you 30 goals, but, like, he can.
He scored 51 goals in 130 games for Arsenal.
It's not bad.
And it's not bad. I mean, look, when he came in here, and the criticism is he ain't scoring 20 goals a season. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I taken that on the chin, but in hindsight, and hindsight, as we know, is all a beautiful thing. Look at Ebony waiting patiently for her go. Hindsight is, can we all agree, and everybody in the chat as well, that Lacazette is the Will Tord to Aubameyang's Thierry Henry? Yeah, that's how we have. If we don't look at this guy as a Will Tord, we won't be able to move forward.
Yeah,
face the facts, guys.
Yeah. I think that's the case. It's and I completely agree with that. And for me, another, like, for instance, Martin Odegaard. Like, a lot of people still get hung up on Odegaard about this whole number 10 stuff, but for me, I don't anymore, because now that I've seen him play more, I don't even see him as a 10. I see him as an 8. You know, I don't worry about how many goals he scored, like, because he doesn't like getting in the box, or how many assists. You know, because he generally likes to be in and around from when we first collect the ball, and he wants to be that middleman, kind of drive and play. He doesn't want to be in the box like Saka and Smith Rowe finishing everything off. Like, you know, if they don't, then, you know, and he gets the opportunity, yeah, he'll give it a go. But, like, for me, like, I see it as a point where, as long as we kind of curb our expectations on these players, like Lacazette and like Odegaard, then we could kind of move on and just accept who they are. And move on and just try to enjoy the game as it is. So for me, I don't get hung up on Lacazette. I just want him to keep doing what he's doing, and I want Arteta to keep playing him as he is right now until he stops playing this way, or unfortunately he gets injured. Fingers crossed he doesn't. Yeah, that's the way I see it. And then to my man of the match, Emil Smith-Rowe, he gets a 10 for me. A goal, an assist, and he's 21 years old. With basically all the pressures, all the fans' hopes and dreams on his back, and he's out there performing like this. And well,
so
done to him.
Neomis, that's 3 goals and 2 assists in his last 5 games.
Mm-hmm.
So he's had a hand in 5 goals in the last 5 games. That's mad.
3 goals and 2 assists.
Yeah, in the last 5 games.
That means that roughly by the end of the season, he should be on about 10 goals. 10, 12 goals.
Probably, yeah. But again, it's the assist factor as well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he should be on like close to about 10 and 10.
So we were talking about paying 70 million for James Maddison, and then we got this guy.
Well, he's doing it. He's doing it. I think the problem, the thing that everybody wasn't sure of was, can he improve and like add that many goals to his game? And he's doing it. So I mean, we can't complain. Now it's like, now what he's doing right now is what we want Saka to do. Now, when you're telling me those numbers and you're looking at it across, let's say 40 games, including the cups, like he's probably going to get about 12 goals and about 10 assists. 10 and 10 is what you, that's the magic
that's
number.
Aaron Ramsey. That's Cazorla.
Yeah, that is what you want from your number 10. 10 and 10, 10 goals, 10 assists, or some type of variation of that. And right now, he looks like he's going to hit that. So
yeah,
we can't complain. So for me, he gets a 10. Amazing Smith-Rowe. And Aubameyang, I don't understand how anybody can like give him less than an 8. Like he was brilliant. He also got a golden assist, and he was our captain. Like I gave him an 8.5. I mean, I think probably Lacazette's work rate helped him a lot and a bit outshadowed him, because it meant that he just kind of stayed near the top and tracked back to when he needed to be and pressed when he needed to be. But yeah, he did exactly what I needed him to do and created a chance for Smith-Rowe. I mean, brilliant. Like, what more do you want?
Exactly, and that's the frustrating thing. We've seen Eddie Nketiah play for this club, and over the last 2 seasons, I have not seen anybody with the work rate that Eddie has. And we know Eddie's a very small player. He's I call him Andy Cole, Dwight York, right? And we've always sort of said, yeah, we need everybody to have that kind of, because that's a mentality. Whether you work hard or press, it got nothing to do with what the boss is talking about. It's you as a football player. You have to have the will to go and do what you feel is right. And that's the reason why Alexis Sanchez had that effect on Giroud and Walcott and even Mesut Ozil. So we know that worked out really well. That was 65 goals between those guys on the Wenger. That's the challenge for these guys, is where are the goals coming from? Where is the effort going to be coming from? And what I like about Aubameyang is, last week, as I said last week, this week against Palace, he was out there as a lone gunman pressing by himself. And it's like, that was frustrating to watch. I'm not going to lie. That was frustrating. But now, if they can keep up with him, it's brilliant.
Yeah, but you know what it is, right? I think that the players know their limits, which is why both Lacazette and Aubameyang got a bit of cramp. Like I think they know that physically they can't handle 90 minutes, and I think that's the one thing whereby, if I hope Arteta continues along with playing Lacazette and Aubameyang, which means that for me, I think we need to have at least 2 strikers on the bench. So that means that we need to get the key and unlock the cell that Eddie Nketiah is hiding in and recall him to the bench. Because
I think he's going to play against Leeds. I think he's going to play against it.
After Leeds, because I think we will need him this season. I know he's another one who's turned down contracts as well. But like, they're all assets to us until the 30th of June. They're all our assets. So let's use them. Let's use them. And this, I guess, for me, my mark for Arteta, I'm going to give him a 9. I'm not an Arteta fan. I don't quite trust him because of his consistency, but you have to give credit where credit is due. He played the game against Palace, made some mistakes, and he addressed those mistakes, which is something that I just don't I don't think that he can do, and he did. And for me, I've been saying that this season's going to come down to fine margins. This game against Aston Villa, we're going to be looking back at this and saying, this is a good 3 points that we got, really good 3 points. And learning from your mistakes is kind of pivotal for that. Like when I watched the Palace game, I said that Crystal Palace should have won that game, and that Vieira himself, because of his lack of inexperience, messed that up. And how he messed that up is through the substitution. He brought that substitution on at the 82nd minute, brought on a defender. If he'd waited 5 more minutes to like the 87th, 88th minute, like he gave Arsenal hope by bringing on a defender, because everybody knew he's going to sit back and take it, which meant that all we had to do was just press, and we were eventually going to get something. And now that Arteta's learning from these little mistakes here and there, like if he could continue going on with this, then maybe we could do something. I've always said that.
So go on.
No, I've always said my target this season is to get back into Europe. I'm sick and tired of playing once a week. I'm getting very jealous of West Ham, even in the Europa League.
Yeah, I hardly see you guys anymore because I'm at home games.
Yes.
So we only really stream away games, and it's just like I think this is the first stream we've had for 2 weeks.
Yep. Yeah, I can't take it. I need European football back. To watch it, to go to it, like I need it back. And for me, if he can just get, I'm not picky. 7th and above, I'll take the conference. I know you don't want the conference, but I'll take it. I just want European football back. And learning from the mistakes like what he did against Villa, we can make 7th. We could make even higher than 7th, but I'll take 7th. 7th would be a nice start.
If we beat Palace, we'd have been a point off top 4.
I know, but
we'd be in the top 4.
Yeah. Apollo, so, don't get the Arsenal fans riled up.
I like what you said about him being bullied into a decision, because Vincey agrees with you, saying I'm happy I bullied Arteta into changing the formation. It's like Xhaka. You're playing without Xhaka because you're almost forced into doing it through the injury, and now we're seeing Sambi give an unbelievable performance yesterday.
My thing with this, and this will be long term with Xhaka. Just because Xhaka is coming back, and at some point he will, doesn't mean that you play him. And the same thing goes with Odergaard. Just because Odergaard is healthy doesn't mean that you go up and drop Lacazette and play Odergaard. That's my problem. If he just does what's right based on form, I can honestly tell you, like Arsenal fans gradually will stop complaining, because like, we've got Man United in a couple of weeks. Just play players based on form, because we will stop going after the manager.
I can't wait for
go
that
after
game.
the players. If the players play like how they did against Villa, and we from the previous game, whatever the game before Man United is, and we address that in the Man United game, and we come up with a system to stop Ronaldo.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Right. I have to be careful with my words here. Could you imagine Yasu versus Ronaldo?
Oh, God.
This goes back to last season's Bologna versus Juventus.
Yes.
And he took him out of the game. So I just want to be careful, guys. With let's welcome Man United and see what happens. Yasu versus Ronaldo. That is box office football, guys. That is box office football. So sorry, going before
you go to Ebony, in for that game. Fine margins. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still tinkering with this Man United side, and he refuses to play what's right for the players. Arteta, just get it right what's for the players. Play the system that works for the players, and I guarantee you Arsenal will get a result. They might not get a win, but they will get a result from that game, because people like me will call that one as a loss straight up. So we can get something out of it. So I'll take it from there. You go.
So D says, man of the match was Lacazette. Fantastic performance from the guy. Excellent link-up play and was the bearer of our intensity. Terry, big shout out to you, Terry. Terry says, was classic 4-4-2 in defense and 4-2-3-1 in attack. Tavares was great. Lord, please, let Xhaka never plays for us again. You know I hate that guy. Vincey, I already said Vincey. And actually, that was Tony Cox, by the way. It was Tony Cox on Facebook. Big shout out to Daniel. Smith Rowe signed his son's paperback yesterday. So big shout out to you. Sorry I didn't come down and see you at the game yesterday. It was just manic. I was late to the stadium. The traffic was all nuts. It was crazy. My vlog, it's so dark in my car that I literally have to put pictures over the start of my vlog because there's no light. You just if I remove that, you just see my dark face in there. So I had to I've got to mess around with all of that. D says, my down points from yesterday was Arteta not subbing off Saka for Martinelli around 60 minutes. Also Odergaard, who gave away a needless pass at the moment he came on. His intensity isn't there and the team dropped off. That's why he was dropped for Lacazette. Facebook user, which I believe this is Terry. Yep, it's Terry. Terry says, Ramsey 9, Tomiyasu 8, Ben White gets 8, Gabriel 8, Tavares 8, Partey 7, Lokonga 7, Laka 8, Uber 8, Saka 8, Smith Rowe a 10, and Arteta a 9. G, I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. G says Ramsdale 8, Tomiyasu 6. Bro. White 8, Gabriel 8, Tavares 9. Partey 9, Sambi 9, Saka 4. That's a bit harsh on Saka. Aubameyang 8, Lacazette 9, Smith Rowe 10. Arteta, the guy always says Arteta out after every time he does a player rating. Look at this comedian here. You're a joker. The guy says Arteta 10. Oh, and he says Arteta in or Arteta out. I'm not sure anymore. And he goes, by the way, we
progress.
Yeah, no, he's having a go at me there. He keeps slapping up me and Bertram, innit? America, United States beat Jamaica 2-0 last week. Sure. Kuke says, Ebony eating some humble Ramsdale pie.
Yep.
D says, Arteta gets a 5. Laka played him. Arteta gets a 5. D?
Oh no! You can't give him a 5.
Someone's hacked his account, man. D, somebody's hacked your account, bro. It says Laka played himself into the lineup due to his signing. Odegaard being absolutely dreadful and off the pace. Premiership too fast. That's what I'm saying. He played in it at the back end of last season. He was fantastic. So I don't know what's going on there at the moment, but they need to identify it. That's one thing that is definitely for sure. He was your number 1 summer target, by the way. Anthony says that's why you have to hold Arteta responsible. No excuses now. No, I think there is excuses because 6 games is still a little bit too little. Let's be a little bit more patient than that, Vincey. Moses says was shouting here, don't sell this guy, give him a new contract, but fans were blinded. Yeah, and I don't think Lacazette's going to stay. To be honest, he's had 2 contract proposals, and if he keeps on playing the way he is now, I don't know whether he's going to get what he's getting. Next season, he'll be 31 when next season starts. We all saw what happened to Willian. Chelsea never wanted to pay him money. West Ham and them were offering him peanuts. Arsenal were the only team offering him a good contract. I don't think there's a good contract out there for a 31-year-old striker who's already, by the way, and in 180 grand a week. Lacazette's looking. Let him go. Yeah, from what Colin told me, he's looking for 240. So, and the most Arsenal have ever offered him is 200 a week. So I don't think he's going to get what he's looking for. I mean, look at Willian now. Willian got a bumper deal. Now he's earning less what Chelsea originally offered him. So what do? Willian should have just shut his mouth, stayed at Chelsea, and took what they offered him. Kuke said, great point, Apollo, on Lacazette being will told. Moses says we need to rate his contributions. Well, as I said, he was a leading top scorer last season and they're not even playing him. D says, unfortunately, we've got a problem now with Odegaard because Arteta has to play him in form what we want from Odegaard that's never been a part of his game. I think, look, we know he's been a good player and he'll come around. Sometimes being benched and seeing what happens and, gives you a different perspective. It definitely has worked for Lacazette.
Yeah, he can come back. He can come back.
Look at Lacazette after not playing in 8 games. Man, he man look like Wolverine popping his claws. Can't wait to get on the field and start shredding, man. So yeah, that's why people are saying bench Saka, because Saka needs to rest and Saka needs to be on the bench, seeing what's going on the field, and come back with a little bit more hunger and vibrancy. Let's go to, unless we have any other player ratings. What's going on, Kez? Big shout out to you. Let me know what your player ratings are, Kez. Ebony, you got the conch.
Okay, so my new husband, Ramsdale, he gets an 8.
Hey, you like rice and peas and ackee and saltfish and jerk chicken and all them thing there.
I know what restaurants to take him to. I don't do it myself. But on a real, well, that is fact. No, Ramsdale, his distribution, his presence in goal is what Leno doesn't have. And I know that there's some Leno fanboys and girls out there. This is a type of goalkeeper that Leno should have been, and he has failed. Ramsdale, as I said at the beginning, I take back what I said on him. I was one of those people that wasn't, favorable of him signing for us, but he has proved me wrong. And I guess if it wasn't for him last night, we would have either drawn or lost. That guy has presence. That guy has, he can play from the back. He his distribution. He knows where to find players to play, to pass the ball. That is what we need in a goalkeeper. And I think he's got good leadership skills as well, because he knows how to command his box. He knows how to command his area. Leno doesn't. So for that, I'm gonna give him an 8.5. Tommy Yasu, he has a little bit of indecisiveness to him, but this is the type of player that what's his name, Bellerin has actually lost the capability of being now. The guy can cross. Yes, there are moments where he runs with the ball, but he has no idea what to do with it. Maybe that's something that or maybe it's because of the opponents. I don't know, but maybe that's something that needs to be worked on. I thought he did all right, so I'm going to give him an 8. Ben White and Gabriel, I would say on the basis of last night, that pairing is a threat to maybe, I don't know, Holding and Chambers, or whatever defenders that we have. Those two know how to work together. Okay, when you have a central defense that can close down, that can it's a good pairing, and you can't really split the two up. And what happens if either of them get injured? Do I have confidence in Holding or Chambers? The answer is no, if I'm honest. I think Rob Holding, he's become lackadaisical. This pairing, I'm going to give them an 8.5 because they're quite cohesive in that defensive pair. Tavares, I love the guy. He can cross. He's a bully. He, as somebody said that, he has absolutely no respect for the opponents, and that's what you want. You want a player that has no respect, that is not going to go easy on the opponent. You want somebody who can run at players, and that's what Tavares can do. Is that a threat to Tierney? I hope not, because it would be great if we had two left-siders, but we'll see. So I'm going to give him an 8.5. Partey and Sambi. This is when I look at Partey and Sambi, this is why I don't ever want to see Granit Xhaka ever again in the middle of the park. Okay? This is why we can't have, as far as I'm concerned, Xhaka can stay injured for the next 5 seasons. I don't care. Or stay injured until his contract runs out. This is the pair that they can read each other. You defend, I go forward. I go forward, you defend. There seems to be, from what I saw last night, there seems to be a relationship in that midfield pairing between those two. I'm going to give them a 9. Saka, I don't know if he's tired. I don't know if it's a little bit of a burnout, which is the same thing. I don't know. But whatever it is, maybe he needs a rest. Maybe he should have actually been substituted for Martinelli. Yes, he should have scored last night, but he didn't. And it's one of those things. He's young. He's 20. You know, he's going to have moments like that. So I'm not going to be too harsh on him. I'm going to give him a 7, and he's my lowest scorer, my lowest scoring player. Aubameyang, you have to give him props for the assist that he gave Emil Smith-Rowe. I thought he worked his socks off. He took his penalty well, but then, yes, it was saved, and he scored the rebound. That's what people forget, yeah? So I'm going to give him an 8.5. Smith-Rowe, man of the match. His almost solo goal alone. I know he got an assist from Aubameyang, but it was an almost solo goal where he just ran. I don't know I can't remember how many players he ran past, and he took his goal.
Well, it was Aubameyang that beat the press. The two centre backs were behind Aubameyang. That one, he had nobody was near him.
Yeah,
no one was anywhere near him.
But then he managed to get past like 2 players, and then he just took his goal. I'm going to give him a 10. Lacazette worked his socks off. He can hold the ball well. I hope he doesn't go. He was everywhere. You know, he was like, for me, he was like the sweeper. Any mistakes, yeah, I'm there. You made a mistake, yeah, I'm there. He was like that sweeper. You know, sometimes it's actually quite good to have that sweeper role.
I said to somebody yesterday, Ebony, that they looked like there was 3 of him out there on the field.
Exactly.
Like, I'm seeing him up front there. I'm seeing him on the byline. I'm seeing him inside the centre making tackles.
Every blade of grass. And if we let him go, it'll be a disappointment. I don't know if he's playing this well because he wants to be sold or he wants his value to go up. Whatever it is, he was all over the place. He was our sweeper. I'm going to give him a 9. Arteta, I'm going to give him an 8. I thought he should have. I don't know what it is with Odergaard, but maybe Odergaard needs to practice in training a little bit more. I'm not sure. He should have taken off Saka and put Martinelli on, because when I looked at the sheet, when I looked at the starting lineup, I actually thought that Martinelli should have actually played instead of Saka. So for that and everything else you got correct. I thought the rest of the starting lineup was correct. And the tactics as well. So I'm going to give him an 8. So,
guys, let me bring up first of all, let me go through the comments so I can get them out of the way. G says, Apollo, I'm still not an Arteta fan, but now I'm open to the process. If it works, yesterday was a sign that he has something here and can get the best out of the team. Also, I'd like to see what happens when we push up the pitch. I trust Gabriel, White and Ramsdale at the back. No need to overly protect them. I think if you do that with Thomas Partey, then there's not an issue with it. I really do, because this team used to get waxed on the counter-attack so many times. So having that sort of insurance policy there is not a bad decision. 18 says trust the process. Vince is saying process the trust. 18 saying so that's the play. Ebony is into goalies, if I had known from day one. D says I can't give Arteta a higher score than 5.
No, D, stop it. Like, listen, I'm not one of Arteta's fans. Stop it. But I can't give him credit. You gotta give him credit for that.
You got to give him credit for the starting lineup for the most part.
Exactly.
You got to give him credit for the fact that he
was forced into making these changes for the Villa game because he got outplayed
for
at home.
As well.
Well, D, that statement you just made there, he was forced into making it. That's for every manager. No. This is what I'm saying. This is why on the forum I've said to the guys, we're quick to jump on him when he gets it wrong, but when he gets it right, he doesn't get the credit. So, in other words, if he didn't do any adjustments at all and went back and did the same thing he did against Palace, you'd still be giving him a 5 or a 4. So the fact that he's changed it and it's worked, and you're still giving him a 5, I don't know, bro. I would agree in principle, but a 5 for a game that very few Arsenal fans, by the way, thought that we were going to even win. I mean, that Villa team is very, very good. England internationals in the defence, competent midfield, Leon Bailey, the strike force Ings and Ollie Watkins. We ain't beaten that team in the last 3 games. We've lost 2 of the last games against these guys. They embarrassed us last year 3-0. And they battered us before that at their place. And to go in there and do what we did to Spurs against the team, I wasn't expecting it. And that's the manager. The manager made the adjustments. He made the changes. And then the veterans. This is not just about Arteta. That's why I made a big thing about Aubameyang. The captain, not just Lacazette only played that game yesterday. That was it. Aubameyang's been playing like that for the whole month. Since the Burnley game, he's been switched on. And when you're watching film, the whole team sits down at London Colney on a Tuesday morning. They do 3 hours of film. And when you're watching that and it's stopped and it's rewound and the coaching staff are pointing towards all these different things, just like in American football, and you analyze and break down film footage, you're seeing the things that you're not doing. So at Palace, when Aubameyang was out there shutting them down and pressing them, and those guys weren't pushing up, Odergaard, Saka, Smith Rowe weren't doing their job, that gets highlighted among the whole team. And that is something that is the coaching staff and the manager's job. It's their job to get the players to identify where they're going wrong, make the adjustments, and find a solution that the team can play in. Arteta has done that. Man's still giving him a 5. You're harsh, bro.
I disagree. I disagree with
I mean, 5. It's okay, but we know it's all subjective, bro. We're here to give our opinions, so that's your opinion. I accept that. Vincey says, please, 18. 18 is going to become a goalkeeper now, everybody. Moses is saying, Dubs, give credit where credit's due.
Exactly. I agree.
Kez still haven't given me his player ratings yet. He says, Vincey, I think you missed the Saka off in your ratings. Kez says, we didn't get outplayed by Palace. I thought we got outcoached by Palace. I thought they shut down Pepe, and I thought they did a good job of pressing and putting the pressure on our 2 midfielders, and we didn't have an answer for it. We didn't have a plan B. And sometimes when you're a young team, guys, I have explained that when you're settled teams that have played together for years and years and years know how to get out of trouble. When a team gives them diversity, they know how to counteract that. When you're a team that's only played together for 4 or 5 games and you're still trying to figure out plan A, you haven't got a concept for plan B. And Palace showed that. Palace showed that we were devoid of ideas because they're going through a coaching phase. They haven't got this thing down to a T yet, guys. We have to understand that these players are still segmented in the philosophies of what the manager's trying to do. So if you knock them out of that, they almost have nowhere else to go because they're still trying to figure it out. It's going to be a long time before, it could be 5 games, 10 games, 20 games, could be a whole season before these guys get to the level where they're relaxed with playing with each other. They're relaxed in the system. They understand the philosophies. And Arteta doesn't have to go like, what's that Muppet? What's his name? Gonzo? Doesn't have to go like Gonzo, flinging his arms and his head around on the sidelines because they're not doing what he's telling them to do. And every game, I see a lot of that. I see a lot of man management by Arteta on the sidelines because it's so easy to get kicked out of your stride when you're a young team. Kez says, oh no, this is Vincey. Vincey says, Kez, I gave him a 5.5. I think he needs to relax on the bench for a while. Yeah, look, Saka weren't great. D says, a lot of you give him 8, 9, 10 based on what? Of his 2? No, based on the adjustments and based on the fact that when a team loses and when a manager gets sacked, it's always the manager's fault. Very rarely does it lie on the shoulders of the players. And the players we know in this team have had to take some kind of responsibilities because they've been so bad. So we understand that, in my opinion, and I talked to this about Vincey in great detail, something Arteta's done very wrong is he's not adhered the system to the players. He hasn't flexed. It's his way or the highway, and that is a longer process because these players. It's more about the players getting up to speed rather than the manager sort of flowing and flexing to their abilities.
That comes down to coaching, though. At the end of the day, they need to be coached into it. Yeah,
it does, and that's the reason why we saw a 4-4-2. We saw a 4-4-2 because the manager liked the look of what Lacazette can bring to the team, and he decided to flex. So there we have it. That's management. That's what you do. Those who don't change are doomed to fail. So there's an element in that. So yeah, I agree with you, but it doesn't take out the fact that you got to give him credit for it. You can't ask for change, and when change happens, you don't say anything. Do you see what I'm saying? It's a double-edged sword. So Vincey's saying, I'm Arteta, move the bus and do something yesterday is what I expected to move the ball for each formation. Oh, Lord. Guys, let's have a look at where we are. Next week, we're going to be doing our top 10 games review, which we all did in the summer. And I really should be taking them out. Let me take out these player ratings now because we don't need them. And this is where everybody is. Arsenal right now, guys, have got BBs. Let me go. I think we've got how many points? Arsenal have got 14 points. So when I look at it, Arsenal have got 14 points. So Arsenal could still get 17 points. So Nabil is still on.
And Ebony.
Yeah.
Ebony
Yeah.
as well.
I'm actually right. Well, I was right.
Bertram, Tony.
Yeah. Yeah, I think me and Neomis are out of there. Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we're out.
So myself, Neomis, the African Guna, and maybe Vince. Yeah, Vincey. Yeah, we're all out. In fact, I've got to put a red marker against that. So the only people that are in play is Lewis, Ebony, Tony Cox, and Bertram Spence and Nabil. Those are the only guys that are still in a shout with the predictions for the first 10 games. So I would first of all like to say for myself, I thought we would only get 12 points. So you can see why I'm happy. You can see why I'm celebrative, and you can see why I'm giving the players and the manager the respect that they deserve, because this is an extremely difficult situation for a team that wasn't very good. I got to tell it like it is. I know some of you lot will agree. I know some of you lot won't agree. But when I told you that this team was trash last season, they were indeed that. And I've seen a lot of improvements, and that's the reason why I had to say in the summer transfer, my grade for the summer transfer was a 5 out of 10 or a 7.5 out of 10. It was a 5 if these transfers don't work out, and it was a 7.5 out of 10 if the transfers did work out. And I can happily say after 9 games that the transfers are working out.
And I was wrong. And I will hold my hands up to that. I was wrong. I was certainly wrong about, I remember in the summer when we were signing Tommy Yasu, a whole load of Arsenal fans were dissing. Who the hell is this? Why can't we look at him now?
They called him a Spurs reject, didn't they?
Yeah, because Spurs were in for him. So the fact that Tommy Yasu is doing what Bellerin used to do and no longer can do for whatever reason, I'll gladly eat humble pie. And I think there's certain Arsenal fans that should also eat humble pie as well.
Yeah, I'm all about that pie, man. I'm eating my pie right now. I said we'd only get 12 points from the opening 10 games, and we could get 17. If we beat Leicester, which by the way, actually, you know what? Let me come in and play let's play a little game here at the moment, yeah? Because I'm actually feeling this as I'm talking to you lot. I'm flicking switches as I'm talking to you lot, right? So I've just nullified all those guys who said that we get it wrong. And now Leicester, this is the key. Let me just save this so I don't forget it. So Leicester, this is the key now, guys. So Leicester City now, nobody on the panel said that we were going to beat them. Not a single member of the panel said that
Because
we
it's
would
Leicester.
be. Yeah, it's Leicester away, isn't it? It's Leicester away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can play away. We can play away.
In fact, Tom Aston, and you ain't gonna get more greener than Tom Aston. Tom Aston is green. Tom Aston is green like money. Yeah,
He
Tom
got us a
Aston is
draw.
green like money. You ain't gonna get nobody more committed as a fan than Tom Aston. And he said we'll get a point.
So did I.
Lewis said
Yeah.
Lewis said we'll get a point. Ebony said we get a point. The rest is like dust in the wind.
Yeah, but would you be happy? But would you be happy if you were proven wrong or we beat Leicester at the Walker Stadium?
Listen, like I said to you, I'm only speaking from myself. I'm already hitting humble pie because I didn't think that we would beat Burnley. I didn't think we would beat Spurs. I thought we were going to beat Crystal Palace, and I was wrong. I didn't think we were going to beat Villa. So, you know, I'm happy because the team is here. It is, guys. Look, the team is fundamentally better than I thought they were. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. This team is better than I thought that they were going to be going into the season.
Yep.
So
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah. For the most part, in the sense of if you go back to the first 3 games, we were dreadful. But then I always knew that we weren't going to get relegated. You know, lots of Arsenal, we're going to get relegated. And okay, I hear that, and that reminds me of a season when we had Adebayor, where we were at the bottom, and then we went to Old Trafford and we beat them. I think we beat them 1-0. So, and as I say, after every single win, I'm hoping that it will be the impetus for our next game, which is Leicester, and Leicester are quite difficult at home. So, you know, I just think that, you know, with regards to, you know, the likes of Tommy Yasu and Ben White, because again, people were absolutely up in arms about Ben White, and look at him now.
It's to do with the cost with Ben White. That's what it really comes down to. It like it was never to do with his quality. Because for me, I was always like, I think he's a good player, but 50 mil for a player when we're supposed to have a self-sustaining model, I think it's just crazy. I thought we were shopping in the Sambi Lakonga 16, 20, 25 mil type of market. This is why, like, Ramsdale was probably like the highest. I think he was 25 that we were ever going to go. So anybody up past that, I was like, you've got to be something exceptional for us to be really breaking the bank, at least on Arsenal
standards. And remember, there's 2 things there. That's paid over 3 years. So I like we went out and spent 156 million, but only 52 million left our bank account because all of that's going to be over the next few years. So it looks good on paper, but what you're going to get, and I've warned Arsenal fans this for quite a few months now, you're going to get into a situation where Liverpool is, where you might end up buying 1 or no players. Not next year, but I'm just saying in 2023 or whatever, 2024, because you've got your team now. You've literally built the foundation of your team. So when you look at what Liverpool's doing, bringing in a Jota, bringing in a Origi, bringing in a, you know, what's his name? Begins with Minamino. Minamino, yeah. When you look at Liverpool, all you're doing is you're tooling the team. You're not looking for solutions. You're looking for support. So when you're in that situation, it's a great place to be. But Arsenal are looking for a solution. Arsenal are like the leaky bucket. You know, I talk about the leaky bucket syndrome all the time. You're piling in a lot, but you're losing a lot on the back end. We lost 21 players in the last year, and we're losing another 5 players in the new year, whether it's in the new year they go or whether it's in the summer. So you're almost, you're almost throwing in as much as you're getting out, and that's a very volatile and disruptive system to work with when you're trying to build a foundation for a football club. That's just the ethics of it, guys. So when you're a fan and you're saying, "Oh, I don't want to trust the process, and we need to finish in the top 4," and that is like, where is your mind? Because if I won the lottery and I bought you a business, you'd go bankrupt within a month. Because with that mentality, you don't understand the planning phase of building success. There is a bona fide best practice to use in any business, in any sports team. And we've seen it in the NFL where you trade, you give up draft picks, you rebuild there, and you do all these different stuff in free agency. That's an art. Doing that and achieving that and building a team is an art. You don't have draft picks and trades and things like that in soccer football. You don't have it. So you've got to do it differently. Not just that, but you're playing a game of steroids and athletics with the likes of Newcastle, Man City, Chelsea. Man, you're doing something which very no other sport is doing. Forget American sports, even Formula One. They did a Formula One budget and cap, so their teams like Mercedes and Ferrari and that can't outspend all the others. Because it's fair. It's competitive. It creates competition. It creates one key word we know as parity. That means everybody gets a chance.
Whatever happened to financial fair play?
It doesn't
feel like it's me. Because the likes of Man City and I don't know, maybe Newcastle will actually start jumping on that bandwagon now.
Here's the joke. So here's the joke, Ebony. Two things, yeah. Those with the deepest pockets have got the biggest mouths in the courtrooms, and we've seen that from Man City. And not just that, but Man City cheated their way with they part on the Etihad. So I used this example with Stan Kroenke saying, if Stan Kroenke wanted to, he can get his wife's company, Walmart, to sponsor Arsenal for as much money as they want. And there will be no cap. The Etihad sponsor Man City for 300 million a season. If you put the Sky's 94 million on top of that and whatever, that's 400 million. Man City can spend 400 million every summer and wouldn't even break the books because it's fair, because it's based among your income. So with Newcastle, when I talked about this last month and I did the video, I said that they need to stamp that out. What did they do this week? They said Newcastle aren't allowed to do that. But yet, Man City is. So you're just creating this inconsistency and this cheat method that other teams are going to have to use advantage of that other teams can't. So it just creates a bad system. And unless something is done, and as I said it before, they have to introduce some kind of salary cap because this financial fair play isn't working. And people don't want it, but the problem with that is you're not getting a fair and competitive league.
And this is why teams are constantly being priced out by the likes of Man City, Newcastle, Chelsea, because we're playing catch up. And that's why it's not fair, and that's why I asked the question. Does this financial fair play still exist? Because
no, it does. Not in my eyes. It doesn't. Because those who you want to give blise to, you'll give blise to. Those who want to pay, we have no idea how much money Man City paid the FA and UEFA underneath the table to close that case down. They got caught red-handed. The emails were right there. Yeah. This isn't Trump making up lies about Hillary Clinton's emails trying to win an election. The proof was right there. They went through 64,000 Hillary Clinton emails and found nothing. This judge and the jury had the proof right there. And yet Man City still got... So it ain't worth nothing. It ain't worth nothing. And the Super League was formed as a way to these 12 teams to become more cash rich. And the others like Chelsea and Man City, they just joined in because they didn't want the others to get an unfair advantage. That's why you heard them say, oh, well, we weren't interested in the first place. We just jumped on because we didn't want to miss out. So this whole thing is just...
They're going to have to because other leagues are suffering, like Liga, like all of their best players are getting poached for nothing. Yeah. Like, was it the boy from, was it Camavinga? Like, could you imagine if he was in the Premier League, he would go for 100 million. Like, could you imagine what I think he was from Rennes? Could you imagine what 100 million pounds would do for Rennes? Like, and they're a consistent Europa League team that could drive them to the Champions League, but they're never going to get that kind of money.
But see, look at what happened with Veron. Yeah. Now, a lot of you guys know that we got Real Madrid made a 42 million bid for Santi Cazorla. and Malaga turned it down. The next year, they faced sanctions in financial fair play, and they had to sell players to get their earnings up to speed. We were able to get Cazorla for 12 million. 12 months before, the man was a 42 million target for Real Madrid. And Real Madrid and Barcelona this summer had no money. And you could get someone like Varane, quality player, for 30 odd million. That's a joke. We paid 50 million for Ben White, and these brothers right here paid 30 odd million for Varane because Real Madrid were desperate for money. So it's not fair. I think the only thing that the TV deal has essentially done is it's helped the lower teams build up, get them up to scratch. You know, the Norwiches, the Fulhams, the Southamptons, all of these teams. It's helped them financially stabilize. That's really what it's done, and it's made them more competitive. Like if you wanted, before you were like, I'm buying Theo Walcott, I'm buying Aaron Ramsey, and they were selling. We need 5 million. We need the money. Now them teams ain't. You come to them with, I want your best player. They just suck their teeth at you and laugh. Yeah, they don't need the money.
If you look at Barcelona, they're in deep debt.
Yeah, they are. And, I mean, Arsenal are in deep in the red, but the fans are worth 144 million per season to that stadium. So when the fans were invited back, it was easy for Josh Kroenke to pull the trigger on releasing funds and going into the red, knowing that in the next 2 or 3 years they'll be out of it. Remember, this team's lost 82 million in the last 2 seasons. This team's running at a loss. Arsenal ain't making no money; they're losing money.
Of course.
So Arsenal, it's going to take them 3 years to get out of this hole that they're in. But when they're out of there, because of this model that they have, they'll be fine. A lot of people come up to me and say, Apollo, I can't believe we spent that money. No, believe it, because since Vinay and them lot took over, they've adopted and Josh buying players over the years, which we would never do under Wenger and Gazidis. We never did that. We always bought players with cash. Now, not only did we buy them with cash, we weighed up the whole term of the contract, including their salary, which was a really stupid way of doing it, but it worked for them. Now, they're on a model that is working for the club because this club needs players, and what they got ain't worth nothing. You ain't gonna earn a penny from the players that you're selling right now. You're lucky. Joe Willock, if you didn't send him out to Newcastle, and we ain't even heard of Willock, because by the way, it's got nothing to do with Joe Willock. It's to do with the system that they're playing him in. They're playing him in a more deeper role. So he's not essentially attacking midfield as he was before. He's playing more of a.
I thought that's why Newcastle bought him.
No, it's square pegging round holes.
Why would a midfielder scores that many goals and you're playing him as a central midfielder? Like it's crazy. He should almost be playing like a second striker.
Exactly.
Man scored more goals than Ceballos, Xhaka, Partey, El Nene, and Smith Rowe combined.
And you're playing him that deep.
Apollo, stop it! Because now I'm like, why did we sell him? You're only gonna no.
Well, all I can say is, to make you feel better, we sold him for the value of Aaron Ramsdale. So that's got to be worth something. That's got to be worth something.
Well, you know what? At least at the end of the season, Todd Cantwell's contract is running out, and we can get him up for free. So I hope Arsenal are watching this video, and we can at least get our Willock replacement right there.
Can we sell Xhaka, please?
No, it's not going to happen. They gave him a new deal. Unless this is some like Muhammad Ali rope-a-dope where we're trying to hoodwink Roma to coming in and saying for a better deal. Like
but they wanted to buy him in the first place in the summer, and then somebody had this dumb brainwave. Oh, let's keep you for another 4
years. He had personal terms agreed and everything, man. Before we go, let's talk to our guys in the chat room and see what they're saying. He says, if this is the identity Arteta wants to adopt to his team, why sign out? Odergaard was a revelation and part of the reason for the team's resurgence last season. They had the second best record in the league points wise. Remember, the numbers don't lie, D. They don't lie. He was second on the team in chances created, second on the team in possession won in the final third, first in chances created, first in balls into the final third. When you have somebody that is that impactful, that's why I said I don't know what's going on with him now, because this ain't the player that we were seeing on the back. It's only been a couple of games. Yeah, terrible Brighton game, terrible Crystal Palace game. Before that, he was playing really well. You know, he was pressing, he was doing all the things, he's being creative, he was slipping people in. That free kick that where we beat Burnley was brilliant. So it's only the last 2 games. So it's not a disaster, because we know he's played well in the Premiership. We got 6 months of proof of that. But there's just something going on with him at the moment, which the manager has to deal with. David is saying, people were saying, we miss Xhaka. Yeah, let them say what they want. Yeah, this team will just keep on winning. Kez is saying, D, agreed, and that is a fair argument. But as a lot of these managers don't even have the pressure or expectations that we have of any of ours. We wanted the experience, but it had, but hounded him out. Yeah, very true. D's just saying he's a tough man to impress, and that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. Remember, we're all here to be subjective and to put our views across. I want you to put your views across, and we can talk. We don't always have to agree. We agree a lot, actually, me and you, D, but we don't always have to agree, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. We're grown men. Yeah, we want to hear what you've got to say, and women. Yeah, we want to hear what you've got to say, and that's the most important thing. And my message to everybody in the summer was set your expectations low. And it seems to me that your expectations are slightly a little bit higher. So maybe that's the difference between our thinking. Kurt is saying, evening panel, big shout out to Kurt. I didn't meet up with him yesterday. I couldn't find him, to be honest with him. But normally he points me out when I'm at the stadium and we have a little nice chat. Sorry, I missed you yesterday. We would have enjoyed the little chat there and a little celebration after the game. Hope you're doing well. He says, what a great match last night. The Villa fans were very upset and angry, which kept me in the stadium until after the match was finished. A big shout out. Nice one, Terry. Terry, I'm back to work next week, by the way. Next week, Monday. After 10 months, the doctors and consultants have signed me back off. So I'm going through the whole plan and process, and I can't wait. Part of me is like really butterflies in the stomach. The other part is, yeah, let's just get on with it. It says, new league plans are being drawn up this week by Real Madrid, Barca, Juve. The current UEFA model is unsustainable, with the likes of Morgan Stanley and Facebook, Amazon sniffing around the football. Yeah, look.
Is that true?
It is, but
wow.
like the NFL, we see this in the NFL when big companies are around there, they always get what they want. Because, you know, we talk about Sky and we love the money they've put into the game. We boast about how much money is in the game in the Premier League. We've got teams at the bottom of our league, like Norwich, that will earn 7 times more than some of the teams in Spain or Serie A. This is Norwich. Norwich, a team that got beaten 7-0 today, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
Are making 7 times more than...
That's why they don't care. That's why they don't care. They had their best player got taken away from them in Buendia. Did they try to replace him properly? And they have money. What, they've had the parachute payments? Norwich are a joke. Whoever owns Norwich, I think it's what Delia, that Dan Farley likes that likes to take the piss out of.
But so here's the joke. They earned 100 million from the Sky deal 2 years ago, 40 million from Buendia, another 100 million. They've pretty much made $250 million.
That's disgusting.
But as an owner, it's your team. You can do whatever you want. That's what people say.
And the thing is, if not when Norwich get relegated at the end of the season, they will actually get parachute money again, won't they?
Yeah.
Then they'll get promoted. They'll get promoted again. They'll bring in some players. Bringing players on loan.
And the thing is, they've not really bought anybody, have they? I mean, Buendia's gone to Aston Villa.
Yeah, the two biggest teams, yeah, that are pulling the wool over everybody's eyes is not so much. Well, Wolves is one of them, but they spent quite a bit of money this year. They didn't before that, and then Burnley. Burnley don't spend no money on players.
Yeah,
none.
Yeah.
But
And you might be able to add Brighton in that, by the way. But these guys are making hundreds of millions every year, and they've got no output. Their owners are sitting on a mountain of gold.
Yeah.
It's your team. You can do whatever you want. That's why when I see these people talk about Josh Kroenke is putting money into this team like no team is doing right now. Arsenal spent more money in the transfer market than any team over the last 3 years. He doesn't have to. He could have had them degger players just sit on there and done what them guys are doing. But there is ambition in the team. We just have to be patient to see it happen. It's going to take a bit of time, guys.
Oh, well, I'm gonna learn to have patience, actually.
Kurt says, probably discussed this already, but Laka was on fire last night. Shame he was not 3 or 4 years younger. Would say pay him what he wants. I think if I was Edu and Vinay, mind you, it's not got nothing to do with them. It's Richard Garlick. If I was Richard Garlick, I would sit him down and say, remember your friend Willian when Chelsea offered him 2 years and increased his salary by just 10, 20,000. And he said no. And he's now worse off over that period, right? He's now making half the money. Yeah, I know he made a bumper deal at Arsenal and he got that big 14 million bonus and whatever. But he ain't making no money right now. Man's making peanuts and his career's probably done. He'll never play in the big league again. If I'm Richard Garlick, I'm saying to Lacazette, you're going to be 31 next year. We can offer you a 3-year deal. And instead of 180, we'll pay you 200 grand. We'll give you a bump in salary. It's only 10%, but it's something. And you'll be getting that guaranteed over your 3 years.
Apollo.
So the switch on that is you may go to a league that you might not survive in, or a system that you might not survive in, or you might make a whole heap of money in next year, and then the year after, they don't want you anymore. But you always be wanting here. That's what, if I'm Richard Garlick, that's what I'll say to him. But
even that offer, I like Lacazette. Don't get me wrong, I like him, but even that offer is way too generous. Like I know I'm not in control of Arsenal's money, but with this self-sustaining model, we can't be having strikers on the bench making 180, 200 grand a week. One guy,
Martinelli's on 90 grand a week.
Well, you know what? Like the ceiling, in my opinion, should be 120 grand. Like I don't know what Martinelli's like. I don't know how much he's going to be making on his next deal. Because to be really honest, like he hasn't played much. If he ever is looking for a next deal, like I mean, who's going to pay him 100 grand a week? He hasn't done anything.
Listen, Vincey, Bertram, Tony, and the African Guna hate when I say this, but I am more disappointed in him than I am any player on the team because I compared him to Hagland. Him and Hagland was the same 2 years ago. Both of them scored 10 goals, and then Hagland went on to score 37 goals last season. Martinelli, injury problems, all these things going on. And even when he played, I was disappointed in his performances, and I told the guys that. And this year, it don't look like it's happening for him either. So I'm more disappointed in him than I am with any Arsenal player. Any of the 25 players in the squad. Yeah, he's just not happening for him.
Yeah, but the fact that he's not played very much, whose fault is that? Is that down to the manager? Is it his fault? Is it a combination of the two? Is he not? What is he doing in training that we're not seeing? Because we obviously don't see the training. So it could be a number of things as to why the manager Arteta is not playing him.
I agree,
It could even be an injury problem that we don't know about.
Well, last year was full of injuries, but he did play. But when he played, he didn't do nothing. He didn't like. I'd sit here. One game I gave him 4 out of 10, and all of you lot looked at me. It was like, and I turned around to you lot and I said, "What did he do? He lost the ball a couple of times. He weren't pressing. He didn't do nothing. He didn't create nothing. He didn't score. He didn't have any chances. It weren't the Martinelli that I knew from before."
Yeah, but but do you not think that's down to lack of play?
Yes. Give 90 minutes. Leeds coming up. Like Arteta,
Yeah.
you put out a system, play Martinelli in there, like wide up front, throwing in Keto, play two strikers. Because for me, I'm not sure Martinelli can be as clinical as Aubameyang. Put them two up in a 4-4-2 and just let them go crazy. Just
or
let
play
them
him
go.
instead of Saka. Play him instead of Saka.
Everybody knows that I've got this saying that the most talented player on this team is Pepe. There is there is nobody more talented in this team in terms of footballing skills than Pepe. But the second player behind him is Martinelli. Martinelli, two-footed, aerial, vision, shot percentage, finishing, closing down, work rate. Man's got everything. He's barely 19, 20 years old. So I don't know what they do with him, but they better do something fast because he'd have been here then, what, 2 years already? This is his third year. And if he doesn't do...
And the same could be said for Saliba as well. I mean...
they have to.
Nobody knows what's really happening with him.
Yeah, I'm not talking about Saliba. That's done for me. I said it in the summer. I said to Tony Cox, and you was all here, he will never be an Arsenal player.
Polo? Yeah. No. Arteta's learned. He's going to kiss and make up. He's going to kiss and make up.
But then who do you drop? Ben White or Gabriel? I wouldn't drop either of them for Saliba.
No.
I wouldn't drop one of those players for them. If you're going to drop Ben White and Gabriel for Saliba, then you're a better man than I am.
Or bring on as a sub.
No, listen, we cannot.
He needs to play, man.
Walk away.
Yeah,
we cannot let this boy walk away. Like he's getting either that or have a bona fide deal to sell him for 50 million this summer. That is the only way. Like I'd love to see him play for Arsenal, but if they don't want him, you have to sell him at least 40, because Marseille like him, and so many people are like wondering what's going on. And I'm hearing Arteta. I'm hearing Arteta likes him and wants to give him a chance. We have a manager who doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, I agree with Vincey.
So do I.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Doesn't know what to do with a talent like Martinelli. It's not even a debate, and it's true. It's like it's like play him as a striker, like you said, Naomi. Play him in a 4-4-2.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know, man. There's you're gonna get to a point where there's not enough mouths to feed around the table. So that's why a lot of these guys are gonna be going. We're gonna be losing Callum Chambers, El Nene, Nketiah. Forget about Klasnach. I don't really care about the Klasnach. Bernd Leno's gonna be gone. Lacazette's gonna be gone. You're gonna be losing all those players because there's just not enough mouths to feed with what's going on. But then
again, we're seeing how Lacazette's playing now, and there's always talk online, and I don't actually believe anything until I see it on Arsenal.com. But there's talk about who we're going to replace him, and there's all these names that we've never heard of, but we need to replace Lacazette.
Yeah, I think the good thing about it, Ebony, is we have to take solace in the fact that Arteta has brought in some very good players. And it's not so much Arteta, it's also Edu. We have to remember Edu is joint to the hip. Yeah, all this Arteta out and this and that and blah. You have to put that man's name in it because he's just as much as part of the process as Arteta is. That's his job. His job is to go out there and scout and find players. So I think that the challenge is, I like the players that you brought in already. 80% of them. Since this transfer market, I can see what you're doing now. I couldn't see the wood through the trees, but now I can. I can start to build a form of what it looks like. So if you lose 5 or 6 players next year and you bring in another 3, 4, 5 players, I'm on board. Because an Ollie Watkins, a Calvin Lewin, and Alexander Isak, I'm not sure if a Basuma will ever get done. I just think his price is going to skyrocket. But if you bring in people of that caliber, I'm on board. Because you've already identified that they will adapt into your system very well. These players we're seeing that are playing last night, they've adapted to the system well. Why? Because the coaching staff has identified their skill set as an asset. That's why they've integrated into. He has this philosophy, and you got men like Socrates, Klasnach, Xhaka, Bellerin, and all these guys who are not fitting to what you want to do. They're not adaptive to the way you want to play. So, move them out, say goodbye, give them your hugs and fist bump them, and then bring in some new players. Give me a Tavares, give me a Sambi Lokonga, give me a Tommy Atsu, give me a Aaron Ramsdale, give me a Ben White, a Gabriel. All these guys are Edu and Arteta players.
Hence the reason why I feel that somebody like Saliba isn't coming to Arsenal, because he's not an Arteta Edu player.
That is a awful.
Yeah, and I've been saying that. Yeah. No, but I've been saying that for over a year, Ebony. He ain't their guy. Ben White is their guy. They bought Saliba for 27 million. The next year when these guys took over, they bought Gabriel for the same money. How are you going to buy a guy for the same money after you just invested another one? And the guy they bought was better than Saliba. The guy they bought was a monster. So when a manager takes over a club, you have your ideas, and the first thing a manager would do was look at what players that you need to keep, which is the foundation, the cog of the team, which players are your stars of your team, and where your dega players are. And with your dega players, you do everything you can to move those guys out the door, because they're not going to win for you. As a manager, your job is to win. Why would you win when the formula at Arsenal for the last 3 years has been a failure?
Well, let me ask you something. I guess getting away a bit from the whole Saliba thing, right? Because I'm in hope with that one that we could manage to save that or get something financially good from that. What about the players coming through the academy now? Is there a pathway for them? Like I know there's Balogun, but what about the likes of John Jules there as well? Like are these guys going to get a path? I know that we do need to buy a type of striker that's a little bit more complete, that can hold the ball up, who has experience. Maybe not someone as old as Lacazette, but someone that's like 25, 26, that has maybe a little bit more room to grow just before they hit their peak, so that it doesn't interfere with kind of the young ones, but still young enough whereby they're not as old as Aubameyang. I know that's the way forward, but I would still like to have some of the academy players come through as well, and allow them to get those type of opportunities, be on the bench, and hopefully we're in Europe to let them play around in the Europa League or the Conference.
I want to say, first of all, let me answer the question and then we'll go to Tony. In my opinion, I have seen that when these guys took over this team, they looked at our whole academy and they said, that guy's going to be great. This guy Saka, this guy Smith Rowe, this guy Charlie Patino, this guy Balogun, this guy Miguel Aziz, this guy. They've identified that already. That's what a coaching staff does. And we're talking about now Pierre Mertesacker. That's his job. He sits down with Edu and Arteta, and they say, right, who are we keeping and who are we going to move on? This happened years ago, by the way. Yeah? So they've already identified that. As a club, you need that young talent to come in and be a part of the foundation of the team and enrich it as well. So you want the Joe Willocks, you want guys who are talented, but it ain't going to work out because we've already established those positions so we can move on and make a profit. They've identified that they can't do that. That's why we've brought in 6 players under the age of 23. That's why you have someone like a Tavares who's 19, Lokonga who's 20. You have players that should be coming through and into the first team. But defensively, we don't really have that at the team at the moment. We've got Mark McGuinness, who I think is a very good centre back. But where's the Gael Clichy? Where's the Ashley Cole? Where's the next left back? We haven't seen that coming through the academy. So they've identified that there's a problem in the academy that's not been doing that. That's why we've had to invest in what I think is a very little bit of money. Lokonga was pennies. Is it, 18 million? Tavares was barely 8 million. I mean, that's chump change, but that's good business. That's how you structure building a team. That's fantastic. But I think there's a little bit of that in what you're saying. But at the end of the day, I think that the academy has not been as productive as they had hoped for, even with the players we brought through. In comparison to some of the teams like Brighton, Southampton, Leicester City, these teams are bringing up. You know, we might get lucky if we got 1 or 2 players every side. These teams are bringing up 3, 4, 5 players from the academy every year. That's why they can afford to sell these players that they do. They make a huge amounts of money. And do you remember when we talked about Ben White coming to Arsenal? And I said to Tony and Bertram, it ain't Ben White I want. It's the player who's going to replace him. And the same goes for James Maddison at Leicester. I want the guy who's going to come in and take his position. That's who I want to sign. So that's where Arsenal are going wrong, because we don't have those options.
Hey, okay.
So Tony, man, first of all, big shout out to you. I know you said you didn't see much of the game, but what's your thoughts on the game? Were you surprised, or did you think it was a game that we were going to get something out of?
I mean, if we go by my prediction, I didn't think it was going to be as profitable as it did turn out. But having said that, seeing some of the football that had taken place previously, and then also seeing the team sheet, I was infused. I was energized. I thought, you know, look, anytime you've got those 5 guys that look like they've brought a whole bunch of new energy to this team, all on at the same time, you know, that was the big thing for me. As soon as I saw, I was like, rah, you bought 5 players in the summer, and you've now got to a point where you're playing all 5 of them in the same game. I mean, how often has that ever happened? I don't think any club anywhere in any part of the world has ever bought 5 players and within 10 games played all 5 of them from the very start of a game. So I was energized. I was kind of out and about, and I was keeping an eye on, you know, scores on the side of my phone, and it was looking good, and I was pleased. So yeah, I've seen obviously the highlights. It looked good. So yeah, gutted I couldn't have been there.
And my question to you is, me and you have always talked about Aubameyang and said that what type of Aubameyang that we would like to see. Tony, is this the Aubameyang that we've been waiting to see?
I'm not going to go in and say that we've all of a sudden discovered the best Aubameyang, because I still think that he's 5 years removed from his best football. You know, a goal scorer is a goal scorer, and you can see that in the play of Messi. You can see that in the play of Ronaldo. Those guys are senior players now. They still know where the goal is. They still know how to get their foot around a football and wrap it around in the top left, top right hand corner. However, what they then lose is other elements of their game. And I think when we look at, you know, Messi, Ronaldo and Aubameyang, for me, has lost the most out of his game in that period since his heyday. Messi definitely, you know, I know he's still acclimatizing to life in Paris, but he also looks to be right now a shadow of his former self. You see little glimpses.
I think he's got one goal in 10 games for Messi, which is unheard of.
What a goal it was. What a goal it was. It was a moment of sheer brilliance. And it's what makes you go, that's why I pay money for it. You know, Ronaldo scored some vital goals for United already in a very short season. You know,
in fact, I don't think if Ronaldo wasn't there, I think that United would have a new manager.
There you go. There you go. So, you know, again, a player who is probably a few years removed from his best form, but still knows how to do that last minute goal, how to wrap his foot round and or jump 6 feet up like a Simon and get that decisive header when necessary. So Aubameyang just, I think, is in that state. We can expect 10 goals from him this season. I don't expect 20.
Yeah,
I'm
I think
expecting 10 goals. I don't expect 20. 20 is what I expect of my striker at Arsenal, minimum.
Yeah.
But I feel that next season, and we've talked about this previously, the hunt is out for the big time striker. Obviously, we're getting preemptive notes about certain players who are getting linked because Lacazette looks like he's on his way out. But as far as I'm concerned, it's not just Lacazette. It's also Aubameyang, because I don't think the guy's got another season after this one.
Yeah, you might be right, but I think my importance has always been that this team could never be back to its glory unless we have midfielders that can score and create. And the best Arsenal teams have always had that. Funny, I compared Wiltord to Lacazette in this new role that he had last night. But again, with the two examples. The first one was the famous Sanchez, Giroud, Walcott, and Ozil. 65 goals between those four players
all
in one
strikers.
season. Yeah,
all strikers.
Playing in the same team. That's the front four. And then you have the situation where Perez, Lundberg, Wiltord, Bergkamp, Henry, again, all playing in unison, all scoring goals, all creating. Yeah. What I see in this team now, and what was good about last night, was that you had the likes of Smith Rowe, who can score and create, and Thomas Partey, who scored as well. Now, that takes a level of pressure of strikers that we've never seen before. And unfortunately, this pattern has been here at Arsenal for quite a long time. When I go back to the point when we sold Walcott and Giroud, and I remember it was the December where we had the semi-final of the Europa Cup against Atletico Madrid. And we got rid of those players, by the way, who scored goals to get us to that semi-final. And then we had one lone striker. And like Lacazette, it was Lacazette up by himself. All that pressure was on his shoulders. It was like, wait, hold on a minute. We're not playing Ozil. Sanchez has gone off the ball, by the way, gone off the boil. Just sold Giroud to Chelsea, and now Walcott's gone. So all of them, what are you going to do? And everyone said, Apollo, don't worry, it will sort itself out. It never has. We've never been back at that level because there's been no goals in the midfield, like none.
Yeah. I mean, and to retort to that point, I mean, Bertram often mentions this, Liverpool don't have huge swathes of goals from midfield, and they don't have huge amounts of nice and they don't have a plethora of creative midfielders. I mean, I remember when we had the cream of the crop in midfield, there's been so many generations of great midfields from Merson Davis, Rocky, Michael Thomas era, all the way through Freddie, Perez, Gilberto, Vieira, Petit, and then you move on again, and then you've got Ramsey and Walcott, and there's been a spattering of other players, but we now get to a point where our midfield doesn't look anything like what we've had previously. We don't have a huge creator like we used to do with Fabregas or Bergkamp.
Your three musketeers, Riziki,
you know what I mean? Nasri, all them likes of players. We don't have that anymore right now. We don't have goal scorers in midfield. And, it's great that Thomas Partey has scored one, but let's be honest, his return is woeful.
It is.
He was
so desperate to get that one out.
That it improves now. But, we have to look at Liverpool as a dynamic and go, well, what we now lack is a three-pronged attack that works like clockwork and just scores goals for fun. Because that's what Liverpool is. They don't have huge output from their midfield. Their midfield are just conveyor belts.
Yeah. They're
just moving the ball into that front area, and then that's where the magic happens. So right now you've got to go Lacazette, Aubameyang, tail ends of their careers effectively. We've got to be looking and saying, right, what is the future? Saka, definitely. Pepe, definitely. Smith Rowe, Odergaard. But we're going to be looking and going, well, which of them is going to be a 20-goal a season striker? Well, none of them.
Yeah, I think Martinelli can be. I think out of all of them, I think Martinelli, given the games, I think he could do it.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice, but what you're hoping is he needs to turn something on real quick. And we often see this with young strikers. You know, they come in, they look good for a few games, and there's no doubt his first season was fantastic. Yeah, scored great goals, and we all know he can do it with both feet. He's got fantastic speed and agility, moves, he rises like a salmon. So he is the archetypal perfect striker. However, I see someone's mentioning Balogun. You know, we've got great potential, but we can't rest all of our hopes on potential, especially coming up this next year. So for me, we're going to lose Lacazette. It's essentially you get a top draw striker, surround him with Martinelli and Balogun. Nketiah, for me, I like the kid, but I don't think his future is at the club. I'd like to see us get some decent money for him. So, you know, it would be nice if somehow we could inflate his value and get 10 million out of it.
I tell you what,
stage, I don't think we'd be lucky to get 5 million for him right now.
I tell you what, I mean, he's going to go on a free next season.
There you go.
But I tell you what, he's going to Palace. There's no two ways about it. That deal broke down lastminute.com. But looking at what Vieira is doing to Palace now, Vieira has always said from day one he wants Eddie Nketiah. He's 23 now, I think. Actually, Eddie. Yeah, could you imagine a Nketiah in Palace?
Oh,
I think
Edward, Zaha,
the way they press.
If Nketiah goes to Palace, then Nketiah would be the player that Arteta didn't use.
The way they press. I mean, I've seen them press Brighton and Leicester City into submission, and I've seen them destroy our midfield on Monday night. Could you imagine adding look? Vieira knows what he's doing. The biggest fear is that Vieira starts to surpass what Mikel Arteta's doing. That's their problem. But then he's the most experienced manager. He's been a manager 2 years before.
You know what I would say to that, Apollo, is Nketiah is not Benteke. Benteke is a man. Nketiah is a boy in comparison.
Why you got this like that?
I wouldn't really talk about Benteke. It's Edward, because Benteke is dead food.
But you can say he's dead food, but let's not forget, dead food is scoring goals for Palace.
But let's talk about the people Vieira are bringing in. And Edward is a beast. He's a man-child. That guy, I don't know whether you see him.
I'm still. He looks good, but I'm still waiting to see. I mean, this is the thing with some people's assessments of players. I don't go overboard on players because, as I always say to Bertram, I keep seeing Alan St-Maximin and thinking, what's all the hype about? I see this kid today get absolutely destroyed all over the pitch. I'm like, what is the point of him being in that pitch, in that team, if he's got all these super skills? Yeah. He can't create for shit. He can't score for shit.
Yeah, you know what? That's Bertram's love child.
Loves him.
That's Bertram's love child right there, man. That's in Pitney. Pitney right there playing.
But I don't get it. And that's how I feel about a lot of these players who get hyped to say, oh, we're the next one. And you know how I feel about Saliba. I do believe he's mustard. It will be a crime if we get anything less than 50 million for that kid. It will be a crime. Yeah. The fact that we're letting Mavropanos go for 3 million.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That is the issue I wanted to address with you, because for me, this is where the whole trust the process is gone completely wrong, because the process is failing in some very strategic areas. Yes, I feel good that they brought in the 5 players that they brought in.
Yeah.
I believe those 5 players help us get closer to top 4 and maybe even squeak a top 4. However, at the same time that we've got those 5 good players, we haven't released a series of about 8 other players, and we've made no money.
But I must say,
it's all very well saying, well, you know, but we're still afloat. We've still got them. We're still a cash-rich company. But
well, we're not at the moment, but yeah.
Yeah, but you see where I'm going is
Yeah.
the fact that you've been negligent in supporting your team's finances by ensuring that you never let a man go to the last year of his contract without selling him, and you don't sign stupidness like Willian and Cedric and all these naff players, which have all happened under Arteta.
Yeah, they got that wrong, and that's why we're seeing. That's why we're seeing six players under 23 years old come in.
I'm not one of them to just turn the other cheek and say, "Oh, look, the process is working perfectly. Look at us now, nah, sir."
Yeah, I know that's always been a thing which you've been right about, and you have been right. I know I challenged you on it on a few occasions, but we can sit here now and say, look at what the team have done. They brought 6 players in under the age of 23. That tells you what they did with Pablo Mari, Cedric Soares, Willian, and all that stuff, and they were looking at even buying Ceballos at one point. What they done with all of that, they got it wrong. And you would understand that that is a play a normal team would make. A normal team would say, let's put some veteran pieces in our team to provide us with the result. The veterans let us down last year more than anything that we have expected. So this year, because on the back end of last year, they realized, hold on, these young kids are running the show. The strength is in the young team. So that's the decision that they've gone with. What's the surprise this year is that Aubameyang and Lacazette have provided leadership which we didn't even know would exist. And I want to bring you guys back to Jamie Carragher's words. When we talk about leadership and what David Luiz has done, and I said this when they did Saka's contract, when Saka signed, and they said, who's the one that's provided the most leadership in the team and has guided you? He mentioned one word. He didn't say Aubameyang. He didn't say Granit Xhaka. He said David Luiz. So that was a big concern for me in the summer. I was the only one here that said, I wonder who's going to pick up the mantle and be that guy. And when Smith Rowe was talking to Jamie Carragher last night, they said, who is the guys in the locker room that is providing the leadership for you kids? And if you guys heard what he said, please tell me now. If you didn't, then I'll say it. He said it's both the centre-backs, which is Gabriel and Ben White, and he said Aubameyang, the captain. Aubameyang. That is the voice in the locker room. Now, I did not know that. I spoke to Colin, who's, the agent of 4 of their players, and he didn't even know that. So it's almost like Jamie Carragher, and the art of a good journalist is to ask the right questions. But what was paved to Arsenal fans and proven to us that, because we don't know who our leaders are. Every conversation with Arsenal fans every week says, we got no leaders, we got no leaders.
Yeah.
This team is unbeaten in 6 games. And the kids, the Pitney Dems, telling you that the leaders on this team is both the centre-backs, the most vocal men in the locker room, is Gabriel, Ben White, and Aubameyang. So there's your answer. Yeah? That's the answer.
That dispels the myth, basically, that we don't have leaders. I think where that comes from is that, it doesn't show on the pitch.
Yeah.
That's where that comes from. So,
well, Aubameyang's one definitely does show on the pitch, because I've never seen the man work as hard. I haven't seen Aubameyang work this hard in years. And that's why I said to you lot, that's why I said, forget the 7 goals he scored, yeah? Only Salah has scored more goals in all competitions this season. Forget the 7 goals that Aubameyang scored. It's his body language and his work rate on the pitch. That is what I'm impressed with. When the team doesn't have the ball, the way he presses reminds me, I never seen anything like that before outside of Alexis Sanchez. The last person to run that hard is Alexis Sanchez. We only have Nketiah doing that, and he's been injured and not played and whatever and blah, blah, blah. And one can't say Nketiah is a starting player. So I've not seen, that's why when against Palace, when Lacazette came on and he went like this and he threw up his fists and provided that energy, I was like, here we go. Because I said, if he can match what Aubameyang's doing, then we got something. We got these 2 old wily-haired veterans galvanize the team. And against Villa, that is all we saw. All we saw was leadership on the pitch in a way that the kids can only look at that and say, rah, look at these guys. He's 30, he's 31. and they're running harder than we are, and we're 10 years younger than them. We can't have that. Come on, lads. Let's get in there and show these old men what we're made of.
Yeah, but last year it was the reverse.
It was the reverse.
It was the reverse. You know, the veterans were letting us down, and it was down to the kids. And if it wasn't for the fact that, you know, the veterans were crap, then, you know, and I've said this before, I don't care what people have to say now, but last year, if it wasn't for the fact that the veterans let us down, then we would not have seen ESR or Saka.
Yeah, that's right. All across the board, everywhere across the board, it just wasn't working. Socrates, Klasnach, Bellerin, Xhaka, Ceballos, Willian, it wasn't working, and that was how you started the season. That was what you put all of your eggs in one basket on. And then in January, when we started Smith Rowe, and then we got Odergaard in, everything just changed. And then they started Pepe as well. Yeah, remember Pepe only started 16 out of 38 league games, and he ended up scoring 16 goals and 5 assists. And so that whole dynamic was just like, forget about those guys. You let us down. And that's why I love the conversation with Willian was, yeah, bro, season's over. Didn't kind of work out, did it? And he was like, no, it didn't. I didn't feel comfortable. Wasn't the right fit. It's not working out for me. I'm sorry about the money situation, but I'll forego the rest of my contract. Really? Yeah, I'll forego it. Don't worry. I'll do what I can to help out. Okay, let's null the contract. Bang. Those are the kind of conversations that are happening. And this team, I like the way that they look. And I think we have to acknowledge that. I've had G's comment up here for about 10 minutes. I don't know what's going on. He's saying Villa are a good side, good players. To put 3 past them and 75 minutes of dominant performance is very good sign. But we did a similar job against Spurs before dropping off in the next 2 games. We need to keep the momentum up, which we can all agree in. Kez is posing a good question. What to do with Pepe? So we have to continue. We have to continue to find ways to get Pepe in situations where he's playing on the team. Because I said last year, in 2 years, 24 goals and 15 assists. That is up there with Mahrez and the best wingers, Mane, all them guys. Those numbers are up there with the best and most productive wingers in the league. Also, this season, you play Norwich, you're 0-0. He beats 2 defenders, shoots, goalie saves, Aubameyang taps it in, we score because of Pepe's effort. Monday night against Palace, what happens? He beats a defender, cuts inside, shoots, great save by the goalie, Lacazette, Aubameyang's there to tap it in. Those goals don't happen if it's not for Pepe. You talk about Smith Rowe and Saka, those guys don't have the ability to be as productive as Pepe. They don't.
But the problem is that Arteta doesn't really fancy him. Like Pepe is supposed to be almost a guaranteed starter. But Pepe almost should be like Ramsdale. Like unless he's injured, like Pepe should be starting each. I don't think he
should be. I think you got to earn your stripes just like everybody else. And but I do think somebody made it.
How do you not earn your stripes, Apollo, if you ain't the 3rd top scorer for 2 seasons on the trot in your first 2 seasons? And top assister in the team 2 seasons on the trot.
I was just about to mention, Tony, somebody in the chat, I can't remember. I don't know whether it was Kez, Vincey, or D, but one of them mentioned that the kids like Saka, we was like, why doesn't he drop Saka? Why doesn't he drop Saka? And one of the people mentioned that it's almost like he's trying to make a statement that those are the linchpin of the future of the team. And that's why I think that we're not seeing Pepe in the way that the team is. We're going back to the Michael Thomas, David Rocastle, Paul Davis. We're going back to the British core. And I think that by starting Smith Rowe and by playing Saka in every game, Arteta they're making a statement. And I think Pepe is suffering because of that.
But do you not think that sometimes, playing Saka can actually cause burnout?
I agree. But there's this problem that we have that Saka is better on the right and he's playing him there, but Pepe's better on the left and he's not playing Pepe there, and he's playing Smith Rowe there. And that's
Arteta's problem. He continuously plays Pepe out of position. If you play him in his right position, you're going to get the best out of him. It's as simple as that.
I don't agree. I don't agree with him not.
Versatile.
I don't agree with him not being played in his best position, because the benefit of him playing on the right hand side is he can cut in onto his left foot and do what he does so well with his left foot. He can't do that if he's on the left side. That doesn't detract from the fact that he is very productive from the left side. But I do feel that you need to get the best out of that player. If you're the manager, you have to find ways in which to get the best out of that player. Now, you and I can watch a game of football and look at Nicolas Pepe and go, he finds himself too often in a cul-de-sac.
Yep.
How do I stop this guy running into a cul-de-sac? Because every team doubles up on him, right?
Yeah. They know he's a threat, Tony.
They know.
You cannot leave him one-on-one on the right-hand side. If you do that, you're asking for trouble.
Absolutely. So therefore, you have to go, okay, I know what's going to come. I'm going to get doubled every time. It's like if you've got Adele Beckham in your team, yeah? You know, you run around with Adele. He's getting the safety come across and he's got the corner. So that leaves somebody else. So what you have to do is be specific in what you work for that guy and how you work it. So whether it's I need somebody to overlap, or I need someone to be able to always be there on the inside because he's going to nip it and run, whatever, you've got to work that out. That's your job as a coach.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. And coaching is what he is needed, because he was pretty much free to do whatever he wanted to when he was at Lille. But what has been said about him this season, by myself, by Bertram as well, is and Neomis, by the way, is his defensive work rate. Pepe is playing better defensively off the ball than I've ever seen him play. So he's definitely making some strides in terms of that team. But my issue is, if you leave him on the bench, you are just missing out on all of that production. He's given you too much. He is giving you too much. He creates his ball placement in the box. He knows where to find his man.
Yes.
You know, no one has as much assists as he has outside of Saka over the last 2 seasons. Only Saka has more assists than Pepe. But the goals, 24 goals in 2 seasons. That's people talk about double-digit goals. People talk about Zaha. Where's Zaha's goals?
Thank you.
You can't. When you cut, if you don't play Pepe, you cut your nose off to spite your face, because he's always going to produce something out of nothing. He's so dangerous.
Yeah.
But and teams know that. That's why they mark him out. It wasn't his fault. He got the ball against Palace. Sometimes I saw 3 players right in front of him. What was he going to do? Of course, he's going to lose the ball. So yeah, it's a tough one, man. I'm always going to defend Pepe, because I believe, and I've said it time and time again, he is the most talented player that Arsenal have got. They actually talked about it on Tuesday. They talked to Smith Rowe, and he said Pepe runs rings around those players in practice. And that was before I was talking. I've been talking about him being the most talented player for over a year now. And the players are coming out and saying that he guy's running rings around everybody. We can't get the ball off him. That's why the opposing teams are saying, we ain't letting that guy play today. We need to. If we don't shut him down, we're dead.
The problem is that he's out on the left, on the right. For me, when he's out on the left and they allow him to roam free and drift in the middle, I've never seen Pepe more impressive in my life.
Yeah, I think he's good on the right, but I think he's good on the right, but he's unplayable on the left. That's what I think.
The thing is, he's too obvious on the right, because I know what he's gonna do. He's gonna go down the byline. He's gonna cut back, and if the defender gets him in the right place, then then he's gonna try to shimmy and pretend as though he's gonna go down. But see what Ebony. But like we all
take
know,
care, Ebony. Appreciate that, darling. Ebony, we're going to do the Leeds game live. We're going to live stream the Leeds game. So she did ask me about that earlier on.
It's just a bit obvious for me, the whole Pepe thing. If we give him a little bit of like a free roll, I think that's where he'll be brilliant. But it all comes down to Arteta. Like he's got to decide on how flexible he wants to be and take it from there.
Yeah, true.
I mean,
true.
The way I would look at Pepe is the same thing. Pep Guardiola has the same issue at at Manchester City. He's got a plethora of midfield players who are super talented, and trying to fit them in sometimes causes him headaches.
Yeah.
So does he play Sterling all the time? Because we know Sterling is just a goal machine. He's an assist machine.
Yeah.
He's got Mahrez, a goal machine and assist machine. But then
and they don't start every game.
And, you know, and he's got Bernardo Silva, and he's got this, and he's got that, and it's so much to play with.
Yeah.
And this is what a good manager should be able to do: manage it like Pep Guardiola. So when you say, "Oh, we're worried about Saliba coming in," when you got 2 dogs in centre back, sorry, you need 3 dogs at centre back.
Yeah.
Because guess what you need to do occasionally? You need to run 3 centre backs, 3 dogs, and run the rest up front in front of that, and just say, "Go on, win it."
Yeah.
Forget wing backs. We're just going up. We're going to pile everyone up front. We've got these 3 dogs at the back who can handle everything. So I don't see why people think, "Oh, well, we're bringing back Saliba is going to cause this." No, you need 3 dogs at centre back.
Yeah, that's a point.
Don't forget when Arsene Wenger came, Bold, Keown, Adams. The amount of assists Steve Bold used to get, I never even realized Keown was playing until when he left.
So you know what I liked
Steve
about
Bold
it?
was my guy.
It's funny you mentioned that. It's Steve Bold's job on the corner to head the ball on backwards, and you know who's doing that in this team? Tommy Atsu. Listen, how you've got 6 foot tall Tavares and 6'2" Tomiyasu. And when I see these guys are the living proof right now for Arteta. This left back and this right back that we got right here, they are going to put some hurt on teams, man. You wait until they get comfortable in this team. They're gonna put some hurt on the Premiership. Trust me.
I hope so.
Ebony, I'm live streaming the Leeds game on Tuesday, yeah?
Okay, I'll be there.
All right, definitely.
Right. See you later, folks.
Nice one, darling. Guys, I'm going to go off and watch the Formula One Grand Prix. The qualifying in America actually has just started in the USA. But I want to thank everybody.
You know, my cousin, Florida State won 59-3 today.
Nice one. Yeah, I'm going to go.
127 yards rushing.
Ooh, okay. I'm going to check out
nice.
those YouTube. I'm going to check out big up Florida State, man. Yeah, big up. I'm going to go and check those previews out. Guys, any closing comments?
Let's try to win the next one. Well, the next Premier League game.
You know, look.
Leicester away. Could you imagine?
We just got to keep this momentum. Momentum is a good thing, man. We've got to keep that going.
Could you imagine if they beat Leicester away? What is going? I mean,
why would you imagine it? We've done that so regularly,
bro. That would put us up into the top 6, top 4. Well, if we'd have won today, we'd have been in the top 4. Sorry, if on Palace, we'd have been in the top 4. Could you imagine us being in a situation where we were bottom of the league, and like I said to you guys, we were missing 9 players, and what I said today, I don't think Arsenal fans really understand. Towards the end of last season, we were 5 games unbeaten in a winning streak. We're now 6 games unbeaten. So if you take out the 3 games we lost, where we lost 9 players, with a full team, the team is unbeaten in 6 this season and 5 at the back end of last season. And 8 out of the 9 wins had no Granit Xhaka. Think about it, guys. Think about it. All right, guys, that's enough from us. Speak to you guys later. I appreciate you guys. Sorry we haven't been around. Maybe we need to touch base with you guys. It's just that there's not a lot of football going on. And I'm at the stadium, so it's not like, you know, Lisa did you guys a favor at Tottenham, but I'm not always going to be around. So, all right, guys, all the best, man. Peace out.
Take care.